Hey, welcome to Center Stage. You know, when I was in my late teens, early 20s, going out to see bands on the weekend, we had the thing called the city pages. And you would go into your watering hole and you'd pick up a city pages on Wednesday to see what was going on for the weekend, what you could go out and check out. Some people looked and made their plans for the weekend based on what was going on. I used to look to see what specific bands were playing, the ones I wanted to see, what venue they were at, not just what was I going to do this weekend. I already knew what I was going to do. I was going to go see a specific band, and I just wanted to know where they were. Tonight, I get to talk to a gentleman that is in one of those specific bands, a band you look for, a band when you're ready to go out and see a band on the weekend and have a good time and cut loose. You're looking for this band. Even if you have to drive a little ways, you're going to check them out. One of the reasons for that is this gentleman I get to talk to tonight. He entertains, he's a performer. He doesn't just stand there on a stage and play his instrument. He's there to make you move. He's there to make you have a good time. Similar to me in a way. I've been coded to be one big ham on stage, and I'm there to entertain. I'm there to make sure you have fun. You know, I'm not just there to play music, I'm there to entertain you. We get along great that way, and we have become very good friends. So without any further ado, let me introduce you guys to Mr. Jeff Rutland on Stunner Stage. Welcome to Stunner Stage. Tonight I'm sitting with the incomparable Mr. Jeff Rutland. Welcome.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate that.
Yeah, man. So I met you at the TC Hit Squad Jams, and I thought you were an amazing stage performer and an amazing person, humble, all the things, and it was like, I want to be this guy's friend right from jump. And it was awesome. My question to you, where did music start for you? How old were you when music started for you? How important was it? What was that catalyst for you?
So, a very odd experience, and don't ask me why I remember it so clearly. But as a child, it's like, I don't even know if I was 10 years old yet, but of all songs, Rod Stewart's Do You Think I'm Sexy was on the radio.
Okay.
And I remember this like it was yesterday. You know, you have these certain memories of your childhood where you just remember it for some reason. But at that age, you know, the word sexy growing up in the 70s as a kid was just like, oh, can't say that. But, you know, it was a song, and for whatever reason, the groove of it, I just remembered it just did something to me. I'm like, that's really cool. And being that young and having it hit you like that, I didn't know what to do with that, right? But I just knew it really hit me weird.
Yeah.
I love the tone of his voice, the kind of gravel that Rod Stewart has.
Do you remember where you were when you heard it? Were you at home?
I was just at home.
Yeah.
I was just at home, and I'd hear all kinds of music. Even though nobody else in my family really, well, I shouldn't say that. Back then, nobody in my family was really musical.
Okay.
As we were growing up. We all did the standard, elementary school band, or you were in choir, or whatever you're going to do.
Yeah.
But this is even before, this predates that, and that song was out, and I'd hear it on the radio, and it's like, man, I just can't sit still. It's weird.
So who in your house was listening to the radio?
My parents always had the radio on.
Just in the background?
My mom would listen to more contemporary stuff, like current stuff. My dad was at the time, if we're talking about then, really loved like Willie Nelson, old school stuff like that, John Denver from back then.
Yep.
But it was funny because the Rod Stewart thing, my mom could tell that I was like into it. And she's like, why do you like that song so much? And I was like, really, I was like, well, it's got the word sexy in it. I can't really, So I was all like shy about it. She's like, so she started like poking fun of me. I'm like, leave me alone, Mom. I don't know why. I couldn't put a finger on it.
Okay.
It just really hit me.
So then in school, then after that, did you start driving towards music more? That song got you started, but in school, when I was a kid, and I'm assuming you the same, you had music class. You had a music teacher. And, you know, there was the standards and the Little Miss Buttercup and the show tunes and all of that. But did you gravitate towards an instrument? What did you do in elementary school musically?
Yep. You know, you do the recorder thing and all that basic stuff. But then at some point they ask you, what do you want to play? There's school band and you're going to play something, pick your instrument. And I picked the drums.
Right out the gate?
Yep. Okay. And so, you know, there's only, you know, if 20 kids pick the drums, not all 20 get on the drums. I picked the drums and I was playing the drums and I got so I played in school band. I continued. I had drum lessons for years. I continued on the drums for all the way through high school. I played in the marching band.
So would you consider yourself still a drummer? If you wanted to sit back and do some 4/4? Because I saw you do that at TC Hit Squad before where you got behind the kit.
Yes, I can play. I think I'm rusty when it comes to tempo. I tend to get excited because, wow, I'm playing drums again and things take off.
Yeah.
So, I think with a little practice, I could get back a little bit of it. You know, it's like riding a bike if you don't do it for a while. But, I got my first drum set when I was like 11, I think.
Montgomery Ward's drum set or from an actual music store?
My drum teacher at the time helped steer my parents who didn't know what they were looking for. I don't even remember the name of the drum shop. It was a drum shop in St. Paul. That's all I remember, but it was a gold Ludwig 4-piece trap set. And it was sparkle gold. It was wrapped in this sparkle wrap. And I still have it.
Was this before Torps? Do you think it might have been Torps?
It might have been Torps.
Because I know Nude Capet was more when we were closer to adulthood, but I don't know how long Torps was there. I know for me, when I was a kid, I didn't get drums. Yeah. I got cornet. You know, so for me, it was general music on arcade, and we rented for the season and all that stuff. So that's awesome. You actually got a full kit at 11 and got to play in band in school. When did guitar speak to you then? So when I was, I wanted to play rock. Obviously, school you're doing School of Tunes. Yep. Which is fine, and I'm sitting there playing snare drum, but I want to sit down and bash on drums. Oh yeah, you're only playing one of many pieces of a drum kit in band, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
But I was kind of, like manifesting what that Rod Stewart song did. Just and I'm like, something about that's really cool, and I couldn't sit still. I'm like, this is it. I can do this, and so I started playing that kit, and my neighbor across the street got into Schmidt Music's group guitar lessons. And he had a Westone electric guitar, and I don't even remember what kind of little amp he had. And I don't even know if it had distortion on it, but if you turned it wide open, it sounded like it was going to
because you're going to blow it up.
So he came over, and we just had a band, and we called it Vex. And we made...
How old were you?
I was probably 12, 13.
Just two people?
Just the two of us.
Yeah, because when you're that young, you don't get a band of 4 or 5 or 6. Oh, no. It's usually you and a buddy.
You don't have proper PA. My grandpa worked in broadcasting for WCCO, and he used to give me these little, because you could tell, I feel like he could tell I was kind of into that type of stuff. So he gave me a pair of microphones that had, oddly enough, like 1/4-inch outputs, not XLR, but they were hardwired in. There were these little silver capsule things, I don't know.
Okay.
But we figured out a way to plug it into my dad's old, like, stereo console, because it had, like, an auxiliary in. Yep. And my neighbor could yell into it, like, play songs, and the two of us would just... I tell my parents over the years many times, thanks for letting us just go crazy, because that planted the seed for me, really.
Were you writing music then, just making noise, or were you doing
One of our most memorable songs was called Sheepskin Underwear.
Sheepskin Underwear.
I can't claim the lyrics, because Pete, my neighbor who played guitar, he wrote all the lyrics.
Yeah.
I just kept the beat for him.
That's awesome, man.
But we had a blast. It was a really good time. It was fun.
And then, again, after that, so you're like, what, 12 or 13 there?
Yep.
Guitar. Dude, you are an amazing guitar player with an incredible ear. When did you start playing guitar?
So, I played with Pete for a long time, and then I had another friend in high school who I'm still friends with now. I honestly don't know what happened to Pete. Drift apart sometimes.
Yeah.
But a high school friend of mine named Dan Schmidt, I hung out with him a lot, and he and I did kind of the same thing. We would just I'd bash on that same drum kit down in the little den in my parents' house, and Dan would come over and shred and just do whatever. And from hanging out with Dan, I was probably 16, 17 maybe.
What year was this, do you think?
Be 86.
86? Okay.
87, yeah. And so just hanging out with him, we're friends, so we play, and then we just kind of hang out and whatever, BS. And he would be playing his guitar, and he was a better player than Pete ever was.
Yep.
Not to dog Pete, we had a blast. That's
right.
what really
planted
but
you were young kids, like 11, 12.
Young, and we just had all this angst, and we're just like, yeah. And just
playing like punk rock almost.
Yes. It was awesome.
Yeah.
And but Dan was a little better player, and I could see it, and I was like, oh. And so I started he'd show me some stuff on his guitar, and I took an interest to it, but I didn't really do anything about it. And when he was over, I'd play his guitar a little bit and try and do power chords and stuff, and we'd play Scorpion songs and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But my dad he took a Schmidt group class for acoustic guitar. Aside from the piano that was in our house, that we all had to take piano lessons, and we all hated it, but we did it.
So music was there, even though you didn't want to acknowledge it until the "Do You Think I'm Sexy" tune. It was there subtly.
Yeah.
Okay. Radio in the background, piano there.
Yep.
Now, did Dad do the acoustic lessons after you became kind of focused on music, and then he kind of took the lessons?
He did the guitar while I was well into drums, and we were my neighbors.
So you might have even sparked that interest in your dad.
I may have.
Wow. Okay.
I guess I've never asked him, but that acoustic being at home, because Dan would bring his guitar over, and then when we're done, Dan would go home with all his gear. But that acoustic being at home now there was a guitar there, and I was like, oh. And so through Dan, I was introduced to old Judas Priest, Screaming for Vengeance, and things like that. But what really got me was Breaking the Chains by Dokken.
I was going to bring that up.
Yeah.
You do little videos here and there of you going through some Lynch solos.
Yeah.
And I'm like, he's a Dokken fan.
Yeah.
There's no doubt. Because you play them like you want to do them 1,000,000% correct.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Cool.
And so that's what really set the hook for me, is hearing George Lynch, their guitar player. And anybody who hears me talk about him can just, I really like that guy. But that's what set it for me. A lot of people like Eddie Van Halen or Jimmy Page, and they're fantastic. There's tons of guitarists we grew up with in that age. Mm-hmm. But George Lynch, just the way he played and his phrasing, and he was super squealy. He had a lot of harmonic type stuff, and he just had an interesting phrasing approach that really got me. So I got the Breaking the Chains cassette. And I swear to God, I know I wore off the writing on it from flipping it over so much.
Yeah.
And listening to it, and I couldn't get enough of that guy's playing, but I had no idea what I was doing, and I was trying to do it on an Ovation. It was one of those plastic rounded back guitars.
Oh, wow.
It had the wood front, and then
the John Bon Jovi Wanted Dead or Alive with the leaves on it and all that kind of thing. Okay. All right.
My dad bought it on payment plan, and he took group lessons, and he actually turned out really good. He could strum and sing songs. He's got a big songbook. He still has it to this day.
Very awesome.
Not the guitar, but he still has a songbook, and he's got a couple other guitars. And but that being there was what really got me to be able to access it on a regular basis. So I don't know that I ever asked him if I could play it. It was down in his den where my drums were.
Right.
So I would just pick it up and start. Dan showed me these power chords, and I'm like, oh. And so then I kind of figured out palm muting. And I was like, okay, so I'm getting this.
So are you fully self-taught really then?
Well, no. I went to precursor to McNally Smith. It was called Music Tech in Minneapolis.
Okay.
But, at the time, I knew how to play, but I didn't know why it sounded good. I could do it by ear.
Yeah.
And I could mimic songs. I wasn't really good at coordinating both of my hands, but the stuff I knew I could do it well. And then I started to get to know guitar solos because a lot of them are pentatonic.
Yep.
And you start to get to know the movements, and I started to like improvise on my own and just kind of bend these licks kind of to my will. And I'm like, oh, well, I stole that from this, but I'm doing a bend a little different here this way, and
Right.
kind of making it my own already. And so as we're playing, and a couple other bands tried to come out of that time. I don't know if you remember James Burns Music.
No, I
Small
don't.
little music shop in Bloomington.
I don't. No,
So
I'm a East Side St. Paul kid. Where were you raised?
I grew up in Bloomington.
Okay.
Yep.
Which is where I got that octave pedal from you.
Yeah,
At that one time.
I remember in the parking lot.
Ages ago. Surprise!
Yeah.
It's me.
It's funny too. You mentioned arcade music in St. Paul. I bought a PV Classic 50 410 combo with the 410 extension cab, and I don't know. God, I don't even remember when that was. It had to have been mid-90s, and I played the living shit out of that thing for so many years, and it was such a great amp.
Yeah.
And I never even knew arcade music existed. But the guy I was playing with in a band, we were going somewhere. We were going to play a gig somewhere, and he needed something from the store, and I walked in, and it was used, standing there. I was like, oh.
That was my favorite place every year. All through grade school, it was like you'd go in there probably second or third week of school, and I cornet one year, slide trombone another year, French horn another year. I went through like every brass instrument. I didn't go into sax or clarinet because that's a completely different fingering, completely different everything. And then at 12, I got my first guitar. And then I was done with all the others.
Nice.
I was like,
guitar or bass?
Guitar.
Okay.
The reason I went to bass is because Walter Borgen, one of my best friend growing up, way better at guitar than me. I said,
yeah.
So
I know the feeling. You're like, yeah. I'll just listen.
Yeah. I was a cheerleader for many a year.
Didn't I see a video of him playing when was it Avalanche?
Yeah.
I mean, nothing personal. I grew up way in a different area. I didn't know about that band.
Yeah.
So I didn't know anything about it, but he did like a playthrough and posted on Facebook recently. And I was like, that's like some catchy shit. And he plays the shit out of it. I was like, what?
That song alone is 22 years old.
That's amazing. And you guys are playing it 22 years ago? Damn. It was awesome. I was impressed. I think I even commented on it. I try and keep a low profile on social media, but I watched it like 2-3 times. I'm just like, wow.
We had some fun. We were trying to be thrashers like Anthrax and Testament and all that, but we all had jobs.
Yeah.
And nobody wanted to tour.
Yep.
So it was like we had our 8 or 9 years, and then we kind of went around and did other things.
Well, that snip, I was like, wow, I would have dug that. I'm sure hearing it. I can't play like that to save my life. Like people that can like downstroke a lot, I don't stand a chance.
You have a different style altogether. I was going to ask you too. Like we're getting so far ahead.
Sorry.
No, that's fine. What was the first concert you went to?
Well, that's a hard one because I think the first concert I went to was Aerosmith. I didn't go because Aerosmith spoke to me at all. I went because Dokken opened for them.
Ah, okay.
And we went, and I don't remember if it was that Aerosmith show or if it was the Monsters of Rock show. No, it was Aerosmith. That was when you used to be able to go to like downtown St. Paul and like sit outside of Dayton's overnight so you could get tickets the next morning.
Yep.
And the whole thing, it was such an experience.
Yep.
And we went down and did that. And I was up, within the first 10 rows of that show.
Was that
to see
Civic
Dokken.
Center?
Yes. To see Dokken, not to see Aerosmith. And okay, we stayed for Aerosmith, but I don't recall it at all.
Right.
Honestly, I don't remember a lot about the Dokken thing.
So
but that was probably the first one.
Now, was that the Under Lock and Key tour then, maybe?
Yeah.
Dokken?
Yeah.
So they were all in the pretty outfits, but they were still playing some.
Yeah.
Okay, very cool.
But I'd say it's hard for me to quantify that because as a kid, my first real job was a dishwasher. Right?
Same.
But second was working at the Met Center. And so I worked concessions at Met Center.
Oh, wow.
And the way they worked it was there's just events there, right? And so there's a schedule, and we got this event, that event, this hockey game, this wrestling match. But you would sign up. You just basically say, I want to do that one, that one, that one. I don't want to do this. I'll do that one, that one. And so all the concerts that came through, when you're at a concert and you're watching the headliner or anybody, most of the people are out there watching the show, which means nothing's going on at the concession stand, which means I can walk out and watch a song or two.
Bit,
And so I saw a lot of concerts, and I feel like I saw concerts there before I actually went to the Aerosmith show.
So the Aerosmith, the Dawkins show where Aerosmith closed. Yep. Let's put it that way. Yeah. Now, did you go with friends? Did you go alone?
With Dan.
You went with
Dan Schmidt.
So did you get a ride? Did you take a bus? How did you get there?
Oh, geez. I probably drove.
Really? Yeah. So your first real concert you wanted to go to, you were old enough to drive and everything.
I could not wait to get my driver's license. I don't know why. Awesome. I got my permit shortly after I turned 15, and I took my driver's test on my 16th birthday.
Nice.
And the first thing I did was I drove over to Dan's house.
Nice. My first concert was Civic Center as well, but it was Motley Crue with nice. Loudness opening.
No way.
And I took the 9 bus down all by myself to go to that. I can't remember if I was 15 or 16 or what it was, but Wally's like, he's not going to see Motley Crue. And I just wanted to see Loudness more than anything.
Okay.
And they were amazing. I still remember walking through the catacombs of that and hearing them doing the rock and roll crazy nights. And I'm like, I'm late. I got to get in there. So first concerts to me have always been important because it really shows when you chose to invest in going to see something, it shows who that is. So the fact that you went to Dawkins is really awesome.
Yeah.
Tell me about your first bands other than like the 11. When did you really played guitar in your first band? When did that happen? Let's get back up to that speed.
So Dan and I screwed around for a while, and then I worked at Burns Music. This place in Bloomington, it's no longer there. But I being in that store and just kind of working it, and we rub shoulders with a lot of musicians, and I was all of 16, 17 at the time, and I knew power chords and maybe a couple pentatonic licks. I didn't really know a lot. Mm-hmm. And I didn't have any gear to save my life. But some teenagers would inevitably come through and bang on some guitars, or somebody pound on the drums. You're like, hey. So there was a band called Caution, and they were based in Burnsville, at a person, his name was Guy Blanchard. And I went down and played with them, and we started playing together. And for whatever reason, I don't remember why, it didn't quite work out for me to stay in the band.
Was that original music too?
No, we were doing a lot of covers.
A lot of covers, okay.
And Dan was playing, I don't remember what Dan was doing, somehow it wound up that I was out of the band and Dan was like playing bass. And Guy was originally the drummer, but it turned out he could really sing. And so they got a drummer and put Guy out front to sing.
Okay.
But then I was out, and then Dan, the band took off out on the road and played in North Dakota, and I sat home just all irritated. I'm like,
so do you remember that you were out by your choice?
I don't think it was my choice.
Okay.
I don't remember why.
Right, gotcha.
I wasn't that good of a player at the time.
You were still starting. You were working on then, right?
What's that?
It was a guitar you were working on then, not drums. So it was a new instrument.
So I wasn't that good, and that probably did play a role in it, how it just didn't work out for me. And that's fine. It is what it is. But honestly, after that, I don't think I did a lot band-wise until I went to music tech. And that wasn't until I was 21. I was in 91.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I just practice at home. I got a 4-track.
Yep.
And started trying to figure out how to record stuff and, bounce things over because you only got 4 tracks and try and keep the hiss down and whatever. And I've got a cheap drum machine. So I just practice at home and record stuff. And just every now and then, after the band thing fell apart, because I don't think it lasted long with Dan. And that whole band didn't really last that long. Then Dan and I would play and stuff, and I'd still hang out with them. But as kind of time went on, I was I was 20 years old, I think, and did some stupid stuff as a, fresh 20-year-old and just coming out of my teen years. Didn't know what I was going to do with my life. And then I finally was just like, I got to do something.
And music was it?
I just said, if I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it. And so I went to music tech, and I started in August 1991.
What was your major in music tech?
Just at the time. They just called it music performance, guitar performance.
Right. So not recording, but
Nope.
actual guitar performance.
I went to study guitar.
So was Lance Sabin your teacher at that time? Because that was
pre-Lance.
Pre-Lance.
Oh yeah.
Oh wow. Okay.
He might have been involved in the recording stuff, and God love that guy.
Yeah.
He's another guy. Again, really unique sound. I went to countless Slave Raider shows at like Waconia Ballroom and things like that, and was blown away by that guy. I mean, Nicky Wickett was awesome too. They both complemented each other really well. Yeah. But Lance's approach and his effortless two-handed craziness while he'd look out at the crowd and go, I'm just like, I don't even know what to say. It leaves me speechless. Yeah. And it's just crazy, that guy's style. I just loved it. Anyway, sorry,
no, that's fine.
He probably worked in the recording area, but I spent so little time down there. I was just holed away for a year in practice rooms. I would show up in the morning. I was in the school like full time, so I was a day class person. They had night classes too. Mm-hmm. And so I would come from my classes and do my thing, and then I would just lock myself in a practice room and stay there until they kicked me out most of the nights.
Really?
And just practice. But then night school would happen, and these people that would work during the day and come to school at night, I started rubbing shoulders with some of those guys, and they'd put together like ensembles for them to work on songs and stuff, and they'd need a drummer. And I'm like, I'll drum for you.
All right.
I thought you were a guitar student. I'm like, I am. And so I was involved in that stuff too. Though. Yeah. And so I did a lot of night school performing and stuff with them, but I practiced more than I've ever practiced in my life in that year. And then, did some showcase band stuff that I still have video of, which is equally impressive for the progress I made, but just absolutely humbling, embarrassing for how much I bought into I should say I let myself get bought into the visual of it. I have a video of me with hair like up to here. I mean, I had long hair, but the girl who was kind of fronting the band, it was, you gotta have the
tease
look.
It.
Yes. So backstage at the Mirage, we'd do our showcase nights at the Mirage.
Okay.
And I was drumming in her band.
Oh wow.
And she sat there in the back room and like, I'm like, what are you doing? And I'm like, okay. I'm behind the drums anyway. I don't know that I really care. And then I looked at myself in the mirror. I was like,
now what was this girl's name? It wasn't like Raven or one of those bigger female artists of the late 80s, early 90s, was it?
I don't remember her last name. Her first name was Larry Ann.
Larry Ann.
And she had the heart for performing. And one thing you learn at music tech that I think is one of the kind of the soft skills that they don't really, you go to learn your modes and practice, and you crack out your metronome, learn all your chord voicings and how can you play over jazz standards. But getting on stage and getting comfortable is something that you just can't really teach. You just got to get up there, and you're going to take a few lumps because you're going to be nervous and you're going to stumble, and it happens. And the sooner you can just kind of relax. Because I have videos, I have all of them on my performance videos. My first performance there was with Jeff Loven singing.
Oh, wow.
At the Music Tech stage. He put together, because we're all brand new and like nervous and we don't know each other. And, not that I think it's a good thing, but music can be kind of competitive.
Yep.
And so you show up in a bunch of guys and you hear somebody rip off a lick and you're like, oh, shit.
Especially in the 90s, it was very competitive.
Oh, yeah. Everybody was playing. And so anyway, Jeff put together a band for these ensembles, and he had me play with him. I still have the video of it. Too Hot to Handle by UFO.
Nice.
And he didn't even play guitar, and he just sang it because he's a great rock singer.
Yeah.
Guitar playing aside, the guy's a great singer too. And I have video of me playing in the band with him. And this goes back to what I was saying, is my first performance at Music Tech. We didn't really do a lot in class yet. We're just kind of getting our footing. So, it was just pentatonic wanking that I was doing. But I knew how to phrase a little bit because I was doing that at home all that time.
Yeah.
Just kind of taking licks and playing with them. And I knew enough about polyrhythms from my drum training to try and like put a 4 against a 3. Or maybe instead of starting that 16th note lick on the 1, started on the and.
Yeah. And
then hear how it plays against the click. And I would do a lot of that, just like analytics at home, because I'm bored and I didn't have anything else to do. And I wanted to play, right?
Yeah.
So I recorded, and I also did a lot of nerdy stuff like that. So I knew how to like improvise, and I could knock out some licks. But to see that video of me playing, I can picture it now. I was like, I had this kind of moppy hair, and I did nothing but stare at my feet and tap my foot violently. But I played well. Not to pat myself on the back, but I played a guitar solo. It wasn't the solo on the record. I just improvised.
So were you critiqued by your teacher about your performance, like your comfortable on stage performance?
I think that was part of it. I don't remember all of it. It was
for me. I was a singer for many years in Avalanche before, and Wally, my best friend, lead guitar player in Avalanche. So I sang forever. Got comfortable in front of people being that singer. Avalanche was very physical, so after a song was over, they needed a minute just to kind of recoup, take a breath, get ready for the next.
Just like thrashing around.
Yeah. And I would take and I would extend. I would talk for like 3-4 minutes, to the point where at the end of the night we might have had 13 songs on the list and we played maybe 11. So I got very comfortable on stage. And then when I switched to bass and started playing bass, I was tucked away, but that ham had to come out.
Oh yeah.
I have to be like, give me some. So that's where my comfortable side comes from. I didn't go to school for it, but I've been on stage since I was 16 years old.
Sure.
So just years and years and years. So I was going to ask you too, one of the questions I ask is like, when you're coming up and you're playing and you're getting to that next level, you've obviously got your George Lynch icon. And that's, I'm going to get to George Lynch. I'm going to get there.
Yeah.
But then you start seeing guys locally that are maybe even as good as George Lynch, but haven't got there.
Sure.
And you go into music tech with Jeff Loven, Lance Sabin. Was there anybody else that was kind of like your first local heroes to look up to as you started kind of going down that musical path?
Yeah. Definitely Jeff Loven. They had a band called the Kilowatts back then.
Oh, yeah.
And there was a strip of bars on St. Anthony, I think. It's called Mississippi Live.
Yep.
And I went and saw them, Tommy Davies.
Yeah, in Kilowatts, didn't it also have Kelly?
Kelly Peterson.
Kelly Peterson was in there too. So you had Kelly and Jeff.
Yeah.
Wow.
Right. It was just, it was a masterclass. So I'd go down to Mississippi Live and see them playing. I want to say they had some tie to KQ for a while. So it was like a sponsored KQ thing, and it was just packed with people, and they would just play.
Might have been part of the homegrown thing, because there was a time when KQ had homegrown, 93X had loud and local.
Yeah.
So it was probably that. But I do remember the Kilowatts era and just thinking the amount of talent on that stage.
Yep.
And Tommy Davies on bass.
Unbelievable. A total side story. In my 20s, I worked for a pawn shop chain for quite some time. And Tom Davies came in. And I used, you talk about the ham. I like to goof off. I like to have fun.
Oh, yeah. I've seen it.
Yeah. And Tom came in, and what I would do when anybody brought in a musical instrument, I'm like, I got a real easy way to figure out if it's really yours. Play it for me. Play it. I want to hear it. I don't care if it's a trumpet. I don't care if it's a xylophone or your bass guitar.
Yeah.
Play it. And he looked at me and he goes, you want me to play it? And I said, yeah. And he goes, okay. And he pulled it out of the case, stood it straight up on the desk, and just burst into this thing. And I was like, okay, we're good.
Yeah, he's
an amazing player, and still an amazing player. He posts videos of him playing like flamenco, Spanish guitar. It blows me away.
He's such an
very talented.
He's such an odd person. I've known him on and off for the last 15 years. He would come into Mace Slacks when TNT would play.
Okay.
And TNT, I'd sing and I'd play bass and what have you. I would sing all the Bon Scott stuff, play bass on all the Brian Johnson stuff. We had kind of a switch. So I'd be playing bass on the Brian Johnson stuff, and you've seen me play. I beat the hell out of my bass. I don't just play light. I get into it.
Yeah.
After we'd start, he'd pop up front row, and he'd be like, and he'd just give me all this stuff, like, you're awesome and everything. And then the second the set's over, he's gone. He would just pop in to give me that and disappear.
Yeah.
And, occasionally I'd get a text, and then he would just disappear. He's always been that way, where he's like, he'll pop in, give you a little love, and then he's gone.
Gone in a flash.
Yeah. But Tommy Dady's amazing player and a great person.
You know, you ask about other people. Other teachers at Music Tech to me were really inspiring. A guy named John Della Selva.
Okay.
He's a jazz guy.
Okay.
Incredible phrasing. He still plays around here.
So did you have a jazz class where you had to learn improvisation and stuff?
Oh yeah. Well, you didn't have to take it, right? You could do whatever you wanted there. But I went because I wanted to learn. You know, I went because I wanted to be a good rock player, but I soon realized that there's so many other things, and that's kind of when I fell into my Stevie Ray Vaughan obsession for a few years. But there was Jeff Loven, Della Selva, another guy named Randy Sabaski, fantastic player, and Randy had this way of talking music theory to you, challenging you to solve problems in your head. How would you play that mode over this chord progression? If you have an altered chord, what if you played this mode over it? And the way he would do it, you could tell he was just so into, because he'd lean into you in private lessons. Think about it, man. Think about what that would sound like.
He doesn't want to give you the answer. He wants you to figure it out.
Yeah, he's like, play that chord, play it. Now think about it. There's a flat 2 there. How would that sound? Think of the tension. You're just crying for that release. And he would get fired up about it. And it would get me fired up, really.
Yeah.
And that's what I loved about Randy. Randy was a great theory guy like that. Good player too. But he didn't play a lot in our lessons. He would play chords for me to improvise over. Yeah. And then he would abruptly stop and say, try this. But it got me thinking kind of outside of the box. Not that I'm a big jazzer,
right?
But to be a little more daring and explore a little bit.
Yeah.
It's almost like he knew, all the safe zones. Make it interesting for the listener. Yeah. Find a note. He says, and he used to tell me this too, even if you play the wrong note, the right one is a half step away.
Yep, there it is.
And he said, but even if you play that wrong note, if you look like you meant it, is it wrong? I'm like, I love you.
What does Gene Simmons say? If you play the wrong note, play it twice so they think you did it on purpose.
See? That kind of confidence. I was like, yeah, man, I think I'm okay to step out on the tightrope now and then.
Yeah.
And one other guy, Emmanuel Kiriakou.
Okay.
He's all Music Tech guys.
Okay.
Because that was, remember, I was just playing with my neighborhood friends, and then Dan, and then I wound up in Music Tech, and I met all these people that I didn't know before, and they all were amazing musicians in their own right. And Emmanuel was a stunning musician, a super cool dude, and he knew music theory and songwriting really well, and it really appealed to me. So you could, for every, I don't know if we did quarters, I signed up with a different private lesson teacher because I kind of wanted to expose myself to all of them.
Look at you, man.
Well, as I got further through Music Tech, I'm like, I want to learn more about jazz. So I took Randy last.
Okay.
But I started with Loven, and then I went to Emmanuel, and then I went to Della Selva, and then I went to Sabaski.
Wow.
And so, but Emmanuel, I'll never, ever forget it. He, not all the instructors did day and night classes. But sometimes you'd find a day instructor around at night. And I was walking down the hall, and you never heard Emmanuel. Emmanuel gave me shit one time for my vibrato. But I listened to George Lynch.
I was going to say, George Lynch vibrato was legendary.
But it's very wide, and it's very expressive. And that's George Lynch. I taught guitar for years after Music Tech at a shop in White Bear Lake.
Okay. And
I would tell that to kids. They come in and they have a tape, and I want to learn how to play this Nirvana song. I'm like, cool, I'll show you how to do it. And so we do it, and we get their mechanics down, and I'm like, now think about it. I kind of go back to where I'm at. What about it appeals to you? Why that song? Mm-hmm. And so that's great. That's cool. That's one of the first things I'd ask them when they'd sit down. I got a new student. I'm like, cool, my name's Jeff. I'm a guitar player, and you're obviously here because you want to be a guitar player. Yeah. Maybe you already play. Why are you here? What inspires you to come here? Because that's what I want to tap into. We can certainly learn cowboy chords, but you can also buy a book out there and do that.
Right.
This is before YouTube and all that. But I can show you and kind of tap into why you're here. And I just remember that. I didn't say this to them, but I remember that being what really drove me. Is I had this interest in.
Well, even as you're saying that, it's like I'm almost hearing what you were just talking about at Music Tech with the different teachers.
Yeah.
With Randy telling you, think about this, do that. You're kind of like, you're bringing that essence out of you now.
Yeah.
That was cool.
So the whole vibrato thing, I would tell kids too, as they would come in, or students that I would have, I'm like, if you are inspired by a guitar player, listen to them, listen to that, and maybe figure out who they listen to. Because if you listen to their influences, now you know what kind of went into their mix and turned into their style. You can certainly incorporate some tricks there. Like Stevie Ray Vaughan, you can hear Albert King in him all day long.
Mm-hmm.
And I listened to a lot of Albert King when I was doing that whole thing. But George Lynch, to me, it just was there. And I remember sitting in a class once and Emmanuel like laughed at me. He goes, "Could you vibrate any wider?" And he like did this super exaggerated thing. I'm like, oh, sorry. Not really, but
not for this genre, apparently.
But what I was getting at is he was at night school really late one night. And I laughed because he never like rocked out. But you could tell he had the technical ability to do it. Just the way he played was so precise.
Mm-hmm.
And he knew you could tell he was super accomplished. I'm walking down the hall later one night. He was in a classroom with a small ensemble, and I heard somebody ripping off like Far Beyond the Sun, like shredding it.
Yeah.
I'm like, I gotta know who the hell that is. Because if they're a student here, I open the door and it's Emmanuel standing in front of a few people. And I was like, I knew it. I knew it. Like, giving me shit about my George Lynchisms. I'm going to give you shit about your Yngwie-isms.
There you go, man.
But yeah, they were all really, really good and really informative to the way I think about, I changed a lot of my technique there. I tried to a lot. The thing I suck at the most is pick and fret hand coordination. I could never be
more of a hammer-on pull-off guy? Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay. Instead of the speed picking
I can't.
Right there?
I'll sit with a metronome, and I still sit with a metronome just to challenge myself.
Yeah.
And see if I can keep up. Not to like push and get to 180 beats per minute, but just to play. And a great thing about playing with Pop Rocks too, we got a click.
Yeah.
I've been playing to a click consistently for 4 years, and before Pop Rocks, I played with Junk FM pre-COVID for almost 10 years, and they did a click on almost everything, and I flat out refused. I was the only one in the band. I'm like, nope, give me a wedge. I don't want a damn click. Really? You guys are on a click. I know the tempo will be good. Why do I want a click?
You wanted to rock, man.
Yeah, I wanted to have fun, and so I did. But coming to Pop Rocks, it was kind of like, well, it's a band for sure, but it's also a show.
Yep.
And there's cues that are happening that only we hear. But I got so used to playing with a click now that when I sit at home and I just play stuff, I like having a click now. I find it like I'm used to it and I prefer it.
I was going to say, there's a drummer for my old band, Nopathy, Josh Fetzik, and he relished having that click. It had to know what the BPM was going to be for the song. And if it wasn't there, it really threw him off for the night. Like if we'd go to practice and he usually had it on his phone, or if his phone died, he'd be like, all right, let's give it a shot. Because he wasn't an amazing player.
Sure.
So good.
Oh, yeah.
And it was just, okay, we're going to go. So I get that. You kind of, it becomes maybe not a safety blanket, but maybe a little bit of a safety blanket.
Yeah.
But it's just that affirmation.
Yeah.
That, yep, I'm in time.
Yeah.
I got it. I'm there.
Yeah. I just got really comfortable with it over the last few years, and I never really cared for it. Funny, starting as a drummer. But I just like not having that and having this thing clinking in my ear
telling
when I
you
started
what your
with Pop
tempo
Rocks.
is.
I was
but
like,
maybe the drummer part of you is part of that too, because a click tells you
sure
the time.
Yeah.
Well, John Bonham, he's in the pocket the way he wants to be in the pocket.
Sure.
I'm sure he doesn't match up to any grid.
Yeah.
Perfectly. So as a drummer, a true drummer, you don't want a click telling you what to do.
Well, yeah, just ask Asia, heat of the moment, right?
There you go.
Sorry.
So let's jump there. So those are your heroes.
My local heroes, yeah.
When did you find the real band that clicked? You talk about Junk FM for 10 years, Pop Rocks for the last almost 4 years. Before that, what was your first real band that really made it happen? Because here's why I ask. I'm an East Side St. Paul kid. You're a Bloomington, Minneapolis kid, right? I'm a thrasher, original music, primarily for most of my time. And then I started doing covers in the 2000s, started going covers.
Sure.
I didn't hear of you until 2010, 2011. But we're the same age.
Yeah.
What were you doing?
Yeah.
Because, dude, you are not the guy down the block that just played in his bedroom all the time and never got any good and is still playing Ride the Lightning riffs half-assed. You know, I feel like I should have ran into you.
Yeah.
What were you doing in the late 90s, mid 90s? What was your gig? When did you start coming out?
Well, so I got out of music tech in 92. I mentioned the pawn shop I worked at.
Yep.
When I got out of 92, the president of music tech said, when I graduated, and then you get this outstanding guitar student award.
Oh yeah, you just get that.
Well, no, they give you this, graduating with honors. Myself and one other student got it that year.
Congratulations.
Which was awesome. Yeah, it was great.
Worked hard.
And but the president, his name was Jeff Russell, told me, a few options for you, I think. You could come back for a second year, because it was a 2-year program at the time. He said, you could come back for a second year. He said, but honestly, I think what would be great for you is just to get out and get your feet wet. He's like, I feel like that's what you want to do. And I'm like, I agree. That is what I want to do. And he said, so I got 2 options. One, there's a cruise ship gig that's holding auditions that I can set you up with. I can refer you to, and you can go to an audition. And he's like, I can't guarantee you the gig, but I can certainly set you up and get you connected and get you signed up for an audition. Mm-hmm. The other is a teaching gig in White Bear Lake at a music store. And I was honestly just too afraid to leave home at the time. And I thought about it for a bit, and I was just like, I think I'll do the teaching gig. So I taught through the 90s at a place called Evans Music in White Bear Lake.
I know of that place.
Yeah. John and Kathy Evans.
Yeah.
Fantastic family-run small-town music store. It was wonderful. And I had a great time there. I taught tons of teenagers in the area. Other really talented, fun teachers there. It was just a really good time. So during the 90s, right after I got out of music tech, that's kind of what I was doing. I didn't really start doing live music at the time.
Okay.
I do a gig here and there, or I go out and see friends play or whatever, but I would teach in the afternoon, and then I would sleep in.
Yeah.
I got tired of sleeping in, and this all ties together, I promise. I'm like, I got to do something else. Well, I wound up being friends with a guy at a pawn shop in Bloomington. And I go in there every now and then, because every now and then they'd have a cool music gear. And he knew I play guitar. Hey, guitar guy, what's this worth? What's this worth? What should we sell this for? Type of thing, right?
And one day, that's what they called.
Yeah.
All right.
And he's like, what are you doing? You want a job? And I'm like, are you joking? And he's like, no. You want a job? And I'm like, well, I teach at night, so I can only work until like 2:00, till the afternoon when I got up to White Bear Lake. He's like, that's fine. So I started working at the pawn shop. And I saw a lot of stuff come and go whenever that, the Tommy Davies bass thing. That's how I wound up in that pawn shop. Anyway, a guy came in, and I honestly, I don't remember how I remember him. I think we rubbed shoulders for a bit at Music Tech. His name is John Rabideau.
Okay.
And John came in. He must have been pawning something, and he made a comment about his band playing at a place called the Firehouse in Circle Pines or Lexington.
Yep.
And he's like, you should come up. You should come up. Bring your stuff and sit in. And I was like, what? And he's like, what are you talking about? Bring your stuff. And he like challenged me to. And I was like, oh, okay. And he goes, yeah, you can play all night. It's just easy shit. It's just blues stuff. And I'm like, okay. Oh, okay. And he's like, yeah, we'll be up there Friday. And so I was like, I kind of cautiously, and, I was like, okay. And I put all my gear in my car Friday afternoon and drove to Circle Pines and walked in. He was like, hey, man, set up right here. I got a microphone all ready for you to go. No idea what I was going to be playing.
So is this 93, 94 then? Was it a couple years after school was done?
Probably, yeah.
Wow, okay.
And that was my first like paying gig was with John.
And it was improvisational blues.
Right off the cuff. Okay. Well, it was standards. It was blues covers, but I didn't know any of it. I didn't know what I was walking into. We did like Blues Brothers and ZZ Top.
Right, but you've got this schooled knowledge of, okay, pentatonic, we're in E.
Yep, right.
This is my section.
Yep.
I kind of know what it should be like. I can do what I want to do.
Yeah. And so that was I thought that was great for me in retrospect, even though it was alcohol fueled and craziness. You know, what is blues? It's three chords that the band holds together while the guitar player has a fun time. The drummer and bass player are bored stiff, but the guitar player gets to go out there and have fun. That being me, I knew how to improvise.
Yep.
I had some tools up my sleeve. I had Randy Sabaski echoing in the back of my head.
Yeah.
Slide your pentatonic a half step out and play just a quick lick. I'm like, that's a cheap cheater way to play out. And I was like, oh man. And I didn't do it a lot, but I would do it now and then and instantly regret it, but not really, because it sounded cool to me. But John would look over at me going, are you, I'm chain smoking over there and you can't see your fretboard? Anyway, that was my first real paying kind of regular gig.
Did it have a band name or was it just John's? What was it?
So eventually the band morphed into this thing called Monterey Jack. I don't remember if it was called that originally.
Gotcha. So your one night improvise turned into an ongoing gig with them?
Yeah. And we'd get, I'd get my $50 or whatever, and we played some really shitty places. Yeah. But John would get these gigs. We played this place called, I think it was the 4th Street Saloon, I think it's called. It's over off Broadway in 94.
Okay. I'm trying to think of that. So 94 and Broadway. Oh my God, yeah. I go right across from Taco Bell and then Wendy's. Okay, gotcha.
Why do I remember Taco Bell? I'll tell you. Do you know a bass player named John Diggerness?
No.
John Diggerness is like, I would put him at a Tommy Davies level. He's just a genius on the instrument. And how John Rabideau, I love you, John. He's a much different guy now, but had real alcohol problems back then, drank a lot. I drank a fair amount too, but John got in a lot of trouble with it. Yeah. And thankfully has turned his life around and he's still playing today and it's straight as an arrow and it's fantastic. Yeah.
Nice.
But at the time, everybody was just kind of crazy and whatever. And on a break, we were due to come back on in this really rough run bar and these 4 dudes sitting up there and we can't find Diggerness. Like we're supposed to be playing and Rabbit was freaking out. He's like, where's Diggerness? I'm like, going back. I'm like, I don't know where the hell he is.
Right.
Wander out the front door, seeing if he's smoking out there or something. And there I hear somebody yelling at me. He's in the Taco Bell drive-thru in his brown Chevette, holding the bag of food up he just got. I'll be right there.
I'm almost done.
And he brought his food up on stage. I was just like, I can't believe this is happening. So it's that type of shit I was doing for, I don't know, a couple years. A fantastic local singer. Her name is Deb Brown.
Okay.
She sang for a while in the band. I wound up leaving that band and going to another kind of bar band that was a little better put together called Kindred.
Okay.
And we played for a while, a lot of like urban, outer suburb ring clubs.
Were you doing that? Was that like a steady gig every weekend at that time? So, because you're like my age, and you were doing school and you were kind of doing the home schooling of yourself, getting there. When I was 16, I was going out and watching bands. I was the roadie for the Regime back in the day, and so I'm at Ryan's at 16, watching hundreds of people go apeshit for this band. And I saw all these other bands that would play 6 nights a week. Yeah. And they were all over the 5-state area, and they were just constantly going.
Yep.
When my band started happening, that all phased out.
Yeah.
It sounds like you missed that whole thing too. Like when you started really being in bands, you're a weekend guy.
Yeah. We had some week-long stints in Kindred, if I recall correctly, but they were, like you said, they were fading away. It wasn't like, the Monday through Thursday. I don't know if you ever went to Archie's in Hopkins.
Yeah.
I lived in Hopkins right before I went to Music Tech, and I used to go see a band called The Spies there. And that was another one where I was just like another local guitar player, Nick Baca. Yep. He could play, and he played this beautiful Paul Reed Smith, and they busted into Wicked Sensation, and I'm like, Jesus, look at these guys. It was fantastic. They had the look, and they would play there Sunday through...
And they're playing some George Lynch. Right.
Of course I remember that. They play all kinds of songs. Nick had the look, he had the hair, he had a fantastic guitar, and he could play the snot out of it, and I just stand there and go, my God. And you guys get to play every night of the week. But yeah, by the time I got to Kindred, that was kind of fading away. And After Kindred, I wound up in an original band that I really wanted to be in. It was called 1,000 Pleasures.
Okay.
It was based in Farmington. The band leader, her name was Janie Aarons.
Where were you living at that time? Still Bloomington?
Yeah. I stayed at my parents' house for quite some time.
So Farmington's a little bit of a drive. Not too crazy, but...
Yeah, but at the time, she had some really catchy songs. And she was looking for a guitar player a couple years prior. And, you know, City Pages back then. And I was like imposter syndrome. I'm like, there's no way I could do that. There's no way she'd hire me. And so I didn't bother going. But when I saw the ad come up again, I was like, I'm going. And so I went down and tried out and got the gig. And played some shows. It was all original. We rehearsed on a really regular basis. And the rest of the band was very anti-cover. You know, they didn't like that I was playing with Kindred at the time. I was getting out of
this
Kindred.
band or nothing kind of thing?
Yeah, kind of thing.
I remember
and
that.
Which is fine. That's fine. And I'm like, but I get to go out and keep sharpening my skills and playing for hours on end and getting paid for it.
And it really isn't hindering an original project.
If we're going to rehearse at 11 o'clock at night on a Friday night, okay, let me know when it is. But as far as I know, we don't do that.
Yeah.
So what I do on my Fridays and Saturdays is kind of inconsequential to the band. That was just my opinion.
No, I think it's a shared one.
And I wound up getting out of Kindred for whatever reason. I don't remember how that fell apart, but I was in 1,000 Pleasures, and she had recorded a record with their previous guitar player, who was fantastic too, amazing player, a guy I met at Music Tech. And then we recorded 5 tunes at Metro Studios when that was still a thing. Really fun. Janie had a really unique way of coming up with songs because she wasn't schooled musically, so she would just go with what sounded good.
Okay.
And it didn't matter if it wasn't in 4/4, and it didn't matter if it was even in the same time signature every measure.
Yeah.
It would go 4/4, 5/4, 4/4, 5/4, or whatever you want to call it.
So did she play guitar?
Yes, play guitar, and she would come up with these melodies, and she would play guitar, and she was way into the look of it, which was great. It really worked for that era. I can certainly send you photos if you'd like to splice them in here and see the hair that I no longer have, because I had more hair than I knew what to do with. But Janie was really great at that, and she also was really great at giving me complete creative license. She's like, I know the song I'm trying to write. I need you to make it with me. And so you're a guitar player. At the rehearsal, my first audition, the two of us sat together, and she played me a riff and sang me the melody, and I started playing with it. And she's like, well, what would you do? What else would you do over that? And start thinking, just kind of come up with stuff. And then the whole band played, and then she was like, yeah.
There it was. See, I have a similar thing with that. After Avalanche was done, and I went out and I helped produce a band called Third Element, which became Planet 86, and they were kind of like a Linkin Park style. So I went from a very thrash band to producing a metal rap band.
Oh, interesting.
And then at the same time, I wanted to do something myself, so I started playing bass.
Yep.
And I formed a band with a guitar player who was a little younger, and he was similar like that. He came up with these really awesome riffs, but they weren't always in 4/4.
Yeah.
It didn't always come around to the one right. And I would get in there and I'd be like, okay, let's do that, but let me just cut it here and move it there and move it there.
Yep.
And the two of us together created some just great thrash.
That's awesome.
For me, it was like, here I am back in it. Because in Avalanche, I was the singer, not the riff guy. Sure. I'd arrange stuff. I'd be like, that is an amazing riff. It's a great chorus. Can we move it over there? I was that guy.
Yep.
But in this band, I was also a riff guy. I was helping to tailor riffs. I'd throw one in, he'd change it a little, I'd change it a little. So I kind of know what you're saying, where she came at you with a riff and it was it had the bones of something amazing. Yes. And you were like, well, if I just do this, there we go.
She was very protective of her ideas, which I give her absolute credit for because they were very unique. Occasionally we could bend her will slightly, but for the most part, this is the song.
Oh, wow, okay.
And so if it had an odd time signature or something you couldn't quite tap your foot to and didn't quite make sense, we all kind of committed to it because, we'd come up with a couple songs, we'd flesh out a few songs at rehearsal, and then you kind of see she's kind of right.
Okay.
It might not make sense right off the get-go, but when it started to come together, like we'd run through it 10 times. Sometimes we'd only get through the first chorus and stop and say, okay, let's try doing this instead, but we'd still stay true to the bones, like you're saying. And we'd add on like a vocal harmony, maybe a call and response type of thing, or maybe I'd come up with a different melody or whatever. But the core of it would stay there, and she was very protective of that.
Yeah.
And I give her absolute credit for that because it came out with some really interesting stuff. It didn't really resonate with the community at all. It was the 90s. This is grunge happening, and she's still like 80s rock metal type of stuff. So it wasn't ever going to really get legs.
Yeah.
But it was cool for what it was. And I still listen to it today and go, man, that was a lot of fun. That was probably my best original band experience, just because of that alone, because she was so much fun to create with. At the time, I'm like, no, it's 1, 2, 3, 4.
Because you're schooled. You
Yeah,
have to fight your education
and
out.
it's funny. You go to music school and you learn all the rules, and then you have to learn to throw them out. And just here's your guardrails, but don't let them restrict you. And I was kind of like that. I'd hear that and I'd want to tap 4, and she would, no, I don't want you to do that.
All right, well, how about a 6/8 then?
Yeah, and the drummer was fantastic. He would just roll with it, and it was great. It was a lot of fun.
There was stuff in Avalanche where we wrote that realistically, if you went in and tried to map it out now, it would be really, really challenging because Walter and Dave, our drummer, they would get down there at like 3 PM. I'd get off work at 8. So they were there for 4 hours.
This is the band of the clip that I saw him play? Yeah.
They were there for like 4 hours coming up with weird things. Like the beginning of that song that you saw with that kind of lead intro.
Yes.
That was all, who knows what the timing is of that?
Yeah.
Because it was just, we're going to play this riff into this, into this, into this.
Yeah, and everything stops while I play this weird run, and then we're into it. I was like, that's amazing.
And they were so in sync with each other that it really was very special. I'd show up at 8:30 at night after work, and they're like, this is what we worked on today. Yeah. And that's why in that song that you heard, it is 1 minute and 10 seconds before the vocals even kick in. Because I'm like,
I noticed that. I thought it was instrumental.
Let it go.
Or maybe I just couldn't hear them, but after a while I heard somebody screaming, and I'm like, oh, that's a really long, was it really?
That's me, yeah.
So you weren't playing bass in that band?
No.
No shit. No. I thought you were the bass player.
Well, Walter's brother Jeff played bass in that band.
Okay.
So yeah. But that was the thing, is like when Avalanche was there, one of the things I learned in my songwriting of thrash, it's about the riffs.
Sure.
You're an additive. Your lyrics need to matter, but you're an additive. Yep. So if that riff is that good, let it go.
Yeah.
So and again, like you were saying, like when you were a teenager and you were into the Doc and into George Lynch, you were learning what you liked and what sounded good to you and where this all was. And then you go to school to learn why that sounded good to you. So now after schooling, you know why it all sounds good. Now I want everything to sound good. And then you go back to somebody that just made it sound good to them.
Yeah. So and you say it just exactly how I thought. I knew I knew what I was doing, but I didn't know why it worked. And I had to know why.
Yep.
But then I walked out and I knew everything that I was doing, damn it. And then when somebody came at me with a curveball like that, I resisted it. But, she just stood her ground, and it was awesome. It was a super fun experience. We rehearsed at obscene volume levels. Absolutely unnecessary. And my ears ring today because of it. We rehearsed we rehearsed with full PA speakers pointing at us. It was ridiculous.
I'm practically deaf in my left ear because of Dave's drum, his snare drum. Always right there.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. And I knew, where are plugs? I'm like, hell no, I'm rocking out.
So let's jump ahead. So that was that. I'm sure there's a gap here between here and Junk FM.
Oh, absolutely.
But what I need to know, how did you get the gig to play with Huey Lewis and the News?
Oh.
Where did that come from? What was the year? Give me that. Because you told me this story once, and my jaw was on the floor the whole 15 minutes.
Yeah.
So I got to know again.
Yeah, that whole thing was like being struck by lightning. playing live for me, like people ask me, what would you want to play in a band, right? And I'm like, well, if I played what I wanted to play or the music that I like, nobody would come, because what I listen to isn't what people want to hear in a bar. But I don't listen to anything we play. I listen to it to learn it, and of course I'm familiar. Who doesn't know Jesse's Girl? Of course you know it. But so that being said, it all ties in because I like to entertain. I'm not going to stand there and play my parts. I'm not going to perform my parts for you. You didn't come to watch me perform. You came to have a good time. And that's my philosophy. I am there to perform. I'm an entertainer, and I want people to smile. I'm going to make eye contact with you. And if I catch you looking at me, I might fling a pick at you. I like having fun, and I like being goofy, and I like interacting with people. And so Junk was playing at a place called The Lookout in Maple Grove. Obviously, it's a current club. It's still there.
Yep, played there many times.
Yeah, so the stage is about as tall as this. And I was on stage right. And Mo, the singer, I remember him telling me that his aunt was married to somebody in Huey Lewis.
Oh, wow.
In the band. And I was like, oh, yeah, cool. I just kind of blew it off. I don't know why I blew it off, but I was like, yeah, that's cool. But, and then he mentioned, oh, they're coming. They're going to come out tonight. And I was like, oh, really? That'd be cool. And so we started, he said it. I remember he told me, and then I didn't think about it. And then we started playing. And so The Lookout, being as it was, and Junk being as it was back then, Junk in its early days, when I first started playing with them, I drank more than I've ever drank in my life. I was going through a lot of personal stuff in my life and just kind of coping and trying to find my way and not die in the process. But as my life kind of leveled off and things started to calm down, I drank a little less. Okay. But I'd have a couple drinks at a show to loosen up a little bit and be that goof.
Yep.
Sometimes if I look out and I see a guy like you in the audience, I'm like, "Oop, I better play it right." You get that. You're like, "Oh, I want to play well."
Right.
But I also want to play. And to me, playing that's the whole thing, is being entertaining and engaging and having people enjoy themselves, and not just, if they want to just hear songs, they can just play it at home or listen to the radio in their car.
You don't want to be a jukebox.
Yeah.
You want to be in a rock band.
Yeah. And so likely a couple Yag shots deep, maybe a Rolling Rock. This is 2017. Mm-hmm. Pre-COVID. I jumped off the stage in our first set, and I don't remember what song we were playing, and I don't remember exactly what it was, when it was in the song, but I wound up going over to a table and taking my foot and sticking it up on the table and throwing my guitar up on it and playing a guitar solo and swinging off the table and then jumping back up on stage. I didn't know who it was. I didn't really think about it. There was just a table with an open spot, and they were right there, right off stage.
Yeah.
And on break, Mo was like, "That was my aunt. That's the Huey guy." And I was like, "That's who?" And he's like, "Yeah, that's the keyboard player in Huey Lewis and the News." And I was like, "Oh." And so I went over and met them, and Sean Hopper, the keyboard player, shook my hand, and I'll never forget it. He's like, "That was fantastic. That was awesome." And I was like, "I'm sorry." And he goes, "No." And I'm like, "Okay." Had I known you weren't just some local up the block. Yeah. But I was like, ooh, instantly I was like, maybe I shouldn't have done that. But there it was. And I don't know that that's what planted any kind of seed, because things carried on as usual. And, I worked my day job, and I'm in IT, so I work Monday to Friday, 8 to 5 thing. Mm-hmm. Back then, pre-COVID, we were in the office all the time.
Yep.
And I got a call from Mo on a Monday, and I was the lead developer. I'm a software developer. I was the lead developer, team lead at this company, and I was holding a team meeting and kind of a group coding exercise and showing some new tech that I wanted us to adopt. So I was presenting, and my phone is face down on the table, and it starts vibrating. I was like, whatever, and I reach over and I hit the button to shut it up. And I carry on with what I'm doing, and then it does it again. I'm like, what the hell? And I think I peeked at it and saw it was Mo, and I called it back.
Finish.
Right. And he called me again. And I'm like, sorry, guys, just give me a minute. So I answered, and I'm like, what's going on? Somebody die or something? Why are you calling me at 1 o'clock?
Yeah.
Over and over and over again on a Monday. He's like, well, I want to ask you something. And I don't remember exactly how that call went. But he's like, Jackie, his aunt, who is the wife of Sean Hopper, had called him, I think, and said, Johnny Cola, the kind of the, there's Huey Lewis.
Yep.
And they're all fantastic musicians. And that band was a really unique thing.
Yep.
Johnny Cola is a great songwriter, and he's the sax guy, and he plays rhythm guitar, and he sings all those background vocals, those high vocals, right?
Yeah.
And he got hurt, and they had a festival in Louisiana coming, and they weren't going to cancel a festival, and for whatever reason, they mentioned to Mo that, do you want to do it? And Mo told me instantly, he's like, hell yeah, right? Yeah, I want to do it. And I remember Mo saying something to the extent of, on that phone call, saying, I want to do it, but when I think about it, I feel like you do a way better job at it. And I was like, so let me get this straight. This festival's this Friday?
Oh my gosh.
And it's Monday?
It's Monday. Okay.
Yeah, it's all Monday, right. And you want me to do this on Friday? Not opening. You want me to play? He's like, yes. And I'm like, Mo, it ain't April, man. Let's stop with this. And he goes, no, I'm dead serious. And I'm like, okay, well, whatever the next step is, yes, consider me interested. I love all that music. I know a lot of it already. Right. I love it. And so if I can be of use, absolutely. And he's like, all right, I'm going to tell my aunt that, you would be willing to do it, and you'd probably be a much better fit. Okay, so I go back into the room, like, cool, how's it going, guys, blah, blah, blah. And within 15 minutes, Jackie calls me, and I was like, well, now I do have to take this. I talked to Jackie for a bit. She's like, yeah, Johnny got hurt, and they need somebody. Would you be willing to do it? And I'm like, yeah. Because now, not only is it not Mo potentially pulling my leg, now Jackie's calling me and saying, yeah, they need somebody, and we were going to have Mo do it, but Mo thinks you'd be a better fit. What do you think? And I'm like, I would love it. I mean, what?
Right.
And she's like, okay, well, I don't remember his name. It's going to come to me. But she's like, I'm going to give your number to the tour manager. He's a British guy, but he has a California phone number. So when you see him call you, answer. I know you might not know the number, but answer the phone and get it squared away. And okay. And so I hung up. And I walked back into the room because we're still doing this meeting. And now I'm like, this is really happening. And now people are like, what's going on? Is everything okay? I'm like, I'm not quite sure yet. And I'm really sorry, but just let's hang tight. And then again, within a half hour, he called me. And I was like, I picked up my phone and it said California. I was like, oh my God, this is all real. And I walked out in the waiting area and I was like, hello? And this guy with a British accent was talking to me. I was like,
wow.
And so he explained that this happened, and he's like, I understand you don't play sax. He's like, and that's okay. We have a horn section. He's like, I understand you play a little guitar. And I said, yep, I do. And he goes, but what we really need is the second vocal. And I'm like, okay, you need a background vocalist. And he goes, yes, the second vocal. And I'm like, explain to me what you mean by the second vocal. And he says, well, the one that sings with Huey a lot. And instantly I started thinking of I Want a New Drug.
Yep.
Like
that high falsetto.
All the way, yes. And I said, are you talking about during the verse of I Want a New Drug, that type of thing.
Yep.
And he's like, and he said, I'll never forget it. I said, is that what you mean when you say second vocal? And he goes, precisely. And I'm like, I said, okay. I said, I'm pretty comfortable singing in that range, falsetto. And he said, that would be wonderful. And I'm like, okay. What's next? And he says, well, I need your travel information. If you can send me like the photo of your license, I'll book you airplane tickets. You'll fly with Sean when Sean flies down.
Oh, yeah. Keyboard.
It'll be on Friday. You'll travel with Sean. We'll get you booked on the flight. And we'll see you Friday. And I was like, I was just like, and then I walked back into the room and I was like, okay, I'm taking Wednesday off through the rest of the week. I can't do this right now. So, and people were like, who? Huey Lewis? Are you serious? And I'm like, yeah, I don't know that I believe it yet myself, but yes.
Right?
So I told my boss, I'm like, I'm really sorry about the short notice, but I got to do this. And he's like, go get it. So I took Wednesday through Friday off and literally lived and breathed that stuff for that time. A lot of it I was familiar with, but some of the other deeper cuts I wasn't as familiar with, like Jacob's Ladder, some of those other ones that I wasn't as familiar with. But
that you hadn't played in a cover band prior or heard a million times on MTV.
Yeah, right. Sports, you know it back to front. You couldn't escape it when it was out.
Right.
So it's just in your brain. And so we flew down there and I met, I went over to Sean's, I think on the Thursday to kind of just go over the songs in his little studio at his house. And we ran through them and he's like, yeah, we're good. I'm like, so I'll play rhythm guitar where needed. And I'll sing the background stuff. And so we flew down there, and I'll never forget it. We flew in Friday night, and we all met in the hotel lobby. And I didn't see Huey, but I saw Bill Gibson, the drummer. You instantly recognize the guy. I'm like, oh, the guy in the video. Yeah.
Blonde with the glasses.
Yes. You see these guys approaching, and I'm like, oh my God.
It's really the news.
But it's not the original bass player.
Oh, okay.
It's John Pierce, fantastic player, super sweet guy. And a guitar player named Steph Burns. Also.
Not the original guy? Not the guy with the white t-shirt and...
Yes, not Chris... I can't believe I can't think of his name.
Same here. I remember t-shirts. So yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Chris Haynes. I want to say that's his name. No, they were not in the band anymore, but they got obviously stellar players. And so Steph Burns, amazing guitarist, super cool guy, and John Pierce also. And so we're at the hotel and everybody kind of gathers around and I'm just kind of rubbing shoulders with these guys. I'm like, oh my God, this is like for real. And the tour manager said to me, he's like, so tomorrow we'll meet down here at 10 a.m. We're going to have the hotel move a piano into one of these conference rooms here and we'll do a vocal rehearsal. And like chills down my spine. I'm like, fuck. So you go to your hotel room and a funny thing, you don't think about it as a regular dude, right? And you're not touring like at the level that these guys did back in the day. I learned, some clever pseudonyms that they would check into hotel rooms as. Yeah. And I remember one of them telling me, it might have even been Sean telling me that he would use the alias Dan Slessens. Dan Slessens. Nice. So anyway, we checked out our hotel. I think Sean and I, that was Friday morning, Sean and I went out and wandered New Orleans. It was fantastic. We just wandered around French Quarter and just saw some amazing just musicians on the street corner, just these pickup bands. I'm like, oh my God, these guys are wailing down here. It's awesome. And then the next morning roll around, and I remember waking up really early, really nervous, and vocal rehearsal. I don't even have my guitar to hide behind. And I was nervous, man. These are people I saw on MTV as a teenager.
It was 10 a.m. Yeah. Did you like la 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 at like 7? Were you going through runs? And everything?
No, I was literally chewing my fingernails.
Okay.
And I texted a good friend of mine, another local fantastic musician out here, Matt Kirkwald. I'm like, dude, I don't even know why I texted him of all people. I was like, oh my God, I don't know why I'm here. And he sent me back. He's like, no, dude, you got this. They got the right guy. I remember him sending me that.
Nice.
And I was like, and he probably doesn't know how much that meant to me, but it did mean a lot to me that he said that. Not because I was looking for his, again, I don't even remember why I texted Matt of all people, but I did.
Yeah.
And he replied with that. They got the right guy.
Sometimes a little bit of affirmation from someone you respect is just mega huge.
And so, we went down to do this vocal rehearsal, and one by one, the band started showing up. I'm like, shit, I'm going to have to sing pretty soon. And so, and then as people showed up, and they're like, okay, let's get down to it. And I'm like, well, where's
Huey?
Where's Huey? And they kind of laughed and like, you don't want to hear him singing at 10 a.m. I was like, oh, okay. All right.
All right. I was just questioning singing at 10 a.m. 2 minutes ago.
Yeah. And so we sat on the piano, and I don't remember who picked the first song. I think Bill might have picked the first song, the drummer. And Sean's like, okay. And Sean's sitting at the piano. He starts playing it. And we start singing the chorus. And I start singing the higher harmonies. And I remember we got through it. And Bill was standing right to my left. And he put his hand on my shoulder and he goes, thanks for coming down here, man. And instantly I'm like, is that you can go back to your room now? Or is that
send you home?
It sounds great. He said, thanks for coming down here. This is going to be a lot of fun. Oh. And I was like, oh. And so we went through a bunch of other songs and we're like, this is fantastic. We're going to have a lot of fun. Nice. So anyway, we get to sound check. We ride in the van. We get to sound check. I'm on this stage day. Yeah, this is the morning of the show on Friday. Having gotten the call that previous Monday.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. So
Friday now.
Vocal rehearsals,
it's
sound check.
What, 1:00? And we're out. It's an outdoor field. I'm like, how many people are going to be here? And they're like, they're projecting probably like 40,000. I was like,
what was the biggest crowd you had played to prior to that, do you think?
Couple thousand, maybe. Just like outdoor stuff. Every now and then you get an outdoor gig. You're like, whoa. Yeah. Everybody came from 100 miles around to this.
I think the biggest I've done is maybe 6,000, 7,000. Yeah. And it was huge to me. So 40,000? Whoa.
That's what they said at the time. And I was like, oh my God. And one of the guys in the band said, don't worry about it. Once you're up here and the lights are on, you can't see past the first few rows anyway. You can't see their faces. The lights are in your face. You're going to see a little bit of them, but from then on, it's just like you're in a club anyway. And I was like, oh, you're probably right. And sure enough, when it got dark and we walked out there, I was like, oh, you're right. I got nothing to be worried about. So, but at sound check, I'm standing on stage talking to the guitar tech, and he's super cool dude, great guy. His name's Ralph. Everybody there was so welcoming. I mean, I'm just this guy from Minnesota who happened to put my foot on this table at apparently the right time to leave an impression. And here I am. And, I'm standing there and they're kind of asking me, what do you need? And I remember the guitar rig, I was on stage right, had Johnny's pedals in front of me, just standard Boss pedals, and 2 Fender Hot Rod Deluxes, I think, behind me that he played through. And they were up against a riser like this where the horn section was. So the horns were right behind me.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. And so I remember kind of talking over the guitar stuff. And then around the corner, here comes Huey from behind the stage. And all of a sudden there he is in his Ray-Bans, like straight out of 1984. And I was like, holy shit, that's Huey Lewis. I'm like, why the hell am I nervous? I just met half of his band. They're all cool with me. This is just the boss. And he came up and he shook my hand. He says, Jeff, right? And I said, yep. And he goes, pleased to meet you. And he said, Jeff what? And I said, Jeff Rutland. And he goes, Jeff Rutland. And I said, yep. And he goes, thanks for coming. And we're, hey, blah, 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 blah. And he says, they got the set list there. And he goes, what do you know of this? I remember him saying, what do you know off the set list? And Sean is standing there too. And Sean looks at me and goes, because I looked at it and I'm like, I know all of it. And Sean's like, this is the set list we're going to play. He learned it all. And he goes, you know all of it? And I'm like, that's what I was told to learn. So yes, I'm prepared to play all of this.
In 4 days.
And he goes,
you got it.
Well, great. What do you want to start with? And I'm like, you tell me. And the first song they open up with is Heart of Rock and Roll. And he says, how about Heart of Rock and Roll? And I said, you got it, dude. And I was like, wow. And he was just so easygoing and such a calming, for as much of a global superstar, to be standing in his presence, ready to play alongside him in a band, and having him ask me what I want to play, and just be that awesome, easygoing. I'm just like, it was so disarming. I was like, all of my nervousness melted away as soon as he walked out there and started talking. I was like, this is what I needed yesterday. He was such an easygoing guy. It was just a really cool presence. So anyway, we kick into the song, and as boom, 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 I'll never forget it. Boom, boom, and I'm like, wow, this is really happening. And the key, and the horns hit right then too. Bang! And I'm playing just a basic rhythm because Steph is over there. He's the guitar player. Yeah. Johnny Cole is likely playing sax on this song. So I'm just riffing on chords behind him, just playing some rhythm. But to hear the full horn section behind me, I was like, this is amazing. And everything sounded fantastic. And to my luck, guys in the band use in-ears, but Johnny didn't. Oh. So I had a wedge just by design. Because at the time of Junk, I didn't want in-ears. I wasn't using them yet.
Right.
And Johnny didn't want in-ears. He didn't use ears. So, or if he did, he didn't have them both in because he had a wedge right there.
Somewhat faded.
Yeah. And so...
Or Sean told him.
No, this was his setup. They set it up as for him. And we're playing, and I'm like, wow, this feels so good. These guys are so good, and the mix sounded so good, and to have it like coming out this massive PA, and I'm just like, is that even my guitar? I don't even care right now. I'm here. This is amazing. And to hear these horns going behind me, and there's no backing vocals until the chorus. You know, they say the heart of rock and roll. And so right then, here it comes. And we get there, and I start singing with Huey, and I'm like, thinking to myself, this sounds really good. Because I can hear the monitor, but before we even started, I asked him to turn the monitor down because it was way loud for me. I'm like, I'd rather hear everything. Yeah. And I was close enough to the edge of the stage where I could hear these massive speakers, and I'm like, I'll hear this just fine. So we get up to that chorus, and I start singing, and I'm like, God, just chills down my spine. I'm like, I can't believe I'm standing here doing this. So we get to the first chorus, you know, how to rock and roll, still beating, right? And as if it's like straight out of the music video, Huey has that same mic stand with an upside down steering wheel as the bass.
Yep.
And with his mic on it, and he's wearing these Ray-Bans, and his hair is, you know, he looks a little older, but he's still Huey Lewis, and he's still got that swagger. And I look to my left as we finish the chorus, and he looks over at me, and he goes, and I was like, you gotta be joking me, pinch me. It was amazing.
Yeah.
And we finished the song, and the guitar tech came out. Huey comes over, he's like, God, this is great. This is great. And I'm like, oh. It was such a dream come true. You know, you yearn for something like that your whole life as a musician. You want to, like, who doesn't want to play on a stage like that? And to a crowd that's projected to be like that. And to have it happening in front of me, it was just like, I can't believe this is my life right now. And, you know, the guitar tech ran over to me right after we finished. He said, what do you need? What do you need? And I said, well, we pulled down the monitors. Can we turn the guitar amps down? And he's like, you want them down? And I'm like, yeah, those are really loud. And so he went back there and he turned them both down. He had two of them. And he turned them both down, and I played a little more, and I'm like, and down some more. So he turned them down some more. And they're Fender DeVille, so they're open back.
Yeah.
So behind him, the horn section is getting the blowback from him too.
Oh, yeah.
So when he turned it down, I remember the trumpet player was like, holy shit, this is awesome.
It's like, I can hear myself.
But it was so good. It was so good sounding. And it was just, all their songs are so feel good, right?
Yeah.
So you couldn't help but just feel awesome. And to be part of that. And, you know, then we had the afternoon to chill. And then I remember I took a photo from the side of the stage and posted it online saying something like, you know, I feel like I'm hang gliding naked right now, but we're going in like 20 minutes. Yeah. And this is it. And I handed my phone to one of the road crew guys, and I'm like, it would mean the world to me and my kids to show my kids if you could film me from side of the stage. Not the whole show, but like the big hits.
Yeah.
And he's like, I got you. I'm like, cool. So he filmed like I Want a New Drug and some other ones and just bits of it. I don't want the whole thing. You know, I could have brought a camera myself, I guess. But And it was funny. I found myself as the night went on, like getting progressively sadder because I'm like, oh, we only have like 8 songs left.
It's almost over.
I know. I'm like, I already played I Want a New Drug, and I'm never going to do it again. But it was a great experience. At the end of the night, I'm like, you know, we rode back to the hotel, and I'm like, I'm sorry. I'm sorry if I'm fanboying, but can I get a photo with you guys? And they're like, oh, come on. And we all like stood in front of the hotel, and I'm just like, and we flew back the next day. And
that's crazy.
It was a fantastic experience. I remember getting back home and getting on the couch, and I literally started like tearing up. And Steph was sitting right next to me. Steph, my partner, was sitting right next to me. And, you know, I think the TV was on or something, and it was fall. So we had the windows open, a nice breeze and everything. And I was like starting to cry. And I'm like, and I was really like, I don't know why I'm crying. But I think, and after I had like a chance to like reflect on it for a few days, it's like I said, that's what teenage me wanted for so long, and not necessarily be Huey Lewis, but be in that situation.
That's you got to live. You're an IT guy on Monday morning. You're a full-fledged rock star on Friday night, like big time.
Yeah, and when I drove to work that Monday, I had no idea what was in store for me, but it happened Monday. And I was back on my couch at home on Saturday, and the whole week was a whirlwind. And I just like, it was like, suddenly it caught up to me like emotionally. And I was just like, I don't know why I'm crying. I just feel like
I can tell you all of it.
I've been through so much.
You were trying to hold your shit together.
Yeah.
During the most crazy week of your life.
Yeah.
Where you had all this anticipation and all this, what's it going to be? Am I going to pull it off? Then you get there and it is the dream come true, and you pull it off, and you get the respect, and then you just go home.
Yeah.
It's like you had all the love, all this, and then the sadness of, oh, that's over.
Yeah.
There's a little of all that. I mean, how could you not be emotional when you finally center yourself again?
Yeah.
That's an amazing thing, dude. And that's some of the reasons why I love doing this podcast is because I've always felt that the one thing musicians do when they get together is tell their stories.
Sure.
That is an incredible story.
Yeah.
And you've got that one.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
My dad has always been such a huge supporter of mine. And he told me, like, I talked to him after I got back, and both he and my mom, I talked to her about it, and they were, obviously very proud of me that it happened. And like, so what's next? And I'm like, what do you mean what's next? Junk's got a gig next week. And he's like, no, I mean, so what do you do with that? I mean, have you thought about maybe seeing if you could join the band? And I'm like, I don't remember exactly how he said it. And I'm like, Dad, they had me fill in for somebody that was injured. He's an incredibly talented guy.
True.
And I think I read somewhere that he wrote like the melody, like the melody to Why I Want to Do Drug in like 5 minutes. It just kind of fell out of him. I'm like, that's that level of a guy, Dad. He was injured and he couldn't. I want to say, if I remember right, he fell off like a stepladder at his house, like hanging curtains, and
my gosh,
landed on his ribs. He's an older guy and landed on his couch and like cracked a rib or two.
Well,
so
you're not going to blow sax or sing
bearing down on a saxophone and singing high notes like that with your ribs injured just probably wasn't a great thing. So this was the one gig they had, and they weren't going to cancel it. And I'm like, Dad, it was the right place at the right time, and I will forever be grateful for it. He's like, well, maybe you should look into, and I'm like, your confidence and support of me is unwavering, and I greatly appreciate you for it. But, I have a life, and at the time my kids were still not quite adults yet, and, they're still in school, and so, you've
got a life going on.
Yeah.
You got a little glimpse at the brass ring.
Yes, and it was a great time, and I am, like I said, I'm forever grateful for it. It was the right place at the right time, and the right table I put my foot on, I think.
So let me ask you this then. As they said, 40,000 people, you can't see past the first 5 rows anyway, except in between songs when the lights go out.
Sure.
Did you look?
Oh, every time.
How was it? Was it 40,000 people?
Oh, there was people as far as I could see.
I remember when TNT played Halfway Jam, and we had played, and I've told this story before, but I'll do a real quick version of it. We played at 3 o'clock in the afternoon on the main stage. Mm-hmm. And then we were supposed to close the small stage at night. Firehouse was the headliner on the main stage. And it was back and forth.
So same day, same band?
Same day, same band.
Okay.
So we play at 3 o'clock. Everything's great. We've got all this time to kill. We're going. We're waiting to play it as the very last band. So Firehouse finishes. Probably about 7,000 people milling around watching Firehouse.
Sure.
They have to walk by our stage to leave the venue.
Oh, yeah.
Firehouse stops playing. We start playing like within seconds, and we're doing Shoot to Thrill. So we start playing, and I'm playing bass at that time or whatever, and we're feeling rushed because we didn't realize they were done, and we got to go. So we're playing, and this small stage has lights that are probably, they're maybe 8 feet high. The front lights are like right here on you.
Yeah.
I couldn't see past 10 feet, like they had said to you. But when the song was over, because we were so rushed, I felt out of tune. I looked down to hit my tuner, and I'm looking at my tuner just to make sure I'm ready so we can go to the next song. And I hear this roar that was way louder than 150 people milling around.
Yeah.
And I look up in the darkness, and everybody just turned around. It didn't look like anybody left.
That's awesome.
All of a sudden, we're playing on this small stage for like 6,000, 7,000 people. One of the best shows of my life.
That's awesome.
Is that kind of how you felt too? Is like when the song was over and that roar hit, did you feel that roar?
Oh, yeah. 100%.
Isn't it crazy?
It was fantastic. It was such a great, I think Kiss played the next night. Kiss was the headliner. Yeah. Huey was the headliner on Friday, and I think Kiss was the Saturday headliner. It was a big event, and it was a lot of fun. It was an all-weekend festival.
Guilty pleasure. Walter and I both thrash metal kids. Yep. Loved Anthrax, Slayer, and all that stuff, but we also liked Huey Lewis and the News.
Yeah. How could you not?
Wally still listens to it. He'd rather listen to that than thrash. So there you
That's
go.
awesome.
There you go.
Very cool.
So that was would you say that was your biggest event ever, musically?
The Huey gig?
Yep.
Uh,
Have you ever had any other musical show that hit you that hard?
Obviously, that one's just kind of on a whole different plane,
Mhm.
right? I will say the tours that Pop Rocks does overseas, those are incredibly special.
That was another one I wanted to ask you about.
Yeah.
You do like USO tours, right?
Yeah, I mean, USO is kind of the term that people know.
Yeah.
I don't even know what that stands for.
I don't either. I just know that it's...
Yeah, so you
Since
hear
Bob
Bob
Hope
Hope.
days.
Yes, right. Pop Rocks works with Armed Forces Entertainment, AFE.
Okay.
And then somehow through the government, they book these things, and you get booked on military bases, and you're there to entertain people. And I remember the first one I went on with Junk, I was like, cool, that'll be fun. I don't know what we're doing. We're going to the Middle East. Is it safe? You know, I grew up when we grew up.
Yeah.
Iran and all that danger over there. And
TNT never went because of that. We got offered it too, and half the band was like, mm-mm.
Oh, really? Yeah, so we went on our first one, and I didn't know what to think. But, you know, hey, what the hell? Let's give it a shot. I need a passport. Okay, I'm just going to get my passport. And so we went on it, and after the first couple of shows, I kind of got it. These people are over there, and they're allied bases, so it's not all American people. But even if it's like a joint base, you're typically playing in the American area, in an American stage. Joint bases being there's other countries that have an installation there as well. So, but after a couple shows on that first tour, I kind of got it. It was just like, these people are over here for months, sometimes years, sometimes by choice. Sometimes they're just in there putting their 4 years in so they can get out. But the weather isn't nice over there in the summer, and they're just doing their job.
Yeah.
And to see them like come to life when you play just cover songs, it's no different than a bar gig at home from a performance perspective.
Right.
But the reception you get over there is entirely different. And after you're done, they want to meet you, they want to chat with you, they want to know where you're from, and they're just so grateful that you came over, because it is disruptive to your life. Being here, you got to take 2 weeks off. So I would spend all my PTO on those trips.
Right.
So what does that mean for me as a 9-to-5er? I don't get a day off.
Right.
Am I working on those trips? Well, a lot of them I'm traveling, but I'm traveling because I have to, because we've got to get somewhere to work.
You may not be on your work schedule, but you're on someone else's schedule.
Correct.
And it is...
It's not at my leisure.
It is work.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so it was a lot of work. I don't even know how many of those trips I've been on, but all of them have been fantastic. I can remember specific incidents of a lot of them. But the most recent Pop Rocks ones have been some of the most memorable.
Yeah.
We've just had a really great time connecting with people, and it's really rewarding. So when you ask me, was the Huey gig like the pinnacle? Certainly, of course it was, in many, many respects.
Yeah.
But as far as like, it's kind of like where I work now. Like I used to work at a company where I did pop-up ads. I'm a coder, so my job was writing front-end code that would pop up ads in your browser.
Oh, you're that guy.
Right. And I said to my boss after a while, because he and I got along pretty well, and we go out to lunch, and I'm like, you ever think about what you're doing and what it adds to society? I hate pop-up ads.
Yeah.
And yet I'm the one doing them here. I know it's my job, but I don't feel like I'm doing anything that anybody appreciates. Everybody hates it, including me. So I wound up leaving the job, but where I work now, I feel like I'm contributing. I feel like, yes, I'm coding, but I'm doing something that's of value to society. And the same thing, I still think that people here enjoy getting out after a full work week and they want to cut loose for a bit and listen to some loud music and have some fun and goof off. Of course that's valuable. But it means even more when, American musicians travel over there to these bases where these people are assigned for months on end. I remember...
You're bringing a piece of home to them.
Yeah. I remember playing July 4th in Kuwait City, in Kuwait, with junk. And, you're not always staying in, quite often you're staying in pretty shoddy surroundings, and not surroundings, but, accommodations. That's the word I'm looking for. And at this particular moment, we were staying in like a trailer that just had bunk beds in it. But there's no bathroom in the trailer. The bathroom is a shared kind of communal bathroom. That's another trailer that's renovated, just has a ton of toilets in it.
Right.
And some sinks and some showers. But you had to get out of your bed and walk down there to use the bathroom and then walk back. And I remember getting up at 6:30 in the morning because I had to use the bathroom. And I got up and I started walking across rocks, because it's nothing but rock, like landscape rocks, but that's all it is. Mm-hmm. And walking to the bathroom and realizing that the air was so hot at 6:30 in the morning or whatever it was, 6:37 in the morning. And even the slight breeze, it wasn't super windy, but it was windy enough to where it was blowing on my eyeballs, and my eyeballs hurt. And I'm like, I am never going to complain about heat at home again. I cannot believe the sun isn't even up yet, like visible in the sky yet. And my eyes hurt. And these people stand in like full uniforms, just standing there doing security for some of them. They just got to stand there and sweat. I'm like, I would tell them, or like meet and greets, I'm like, I don't know how you guys do it. I thank you for your service.
They were also basic training doing that.
Sure.
They've conditioned themselves to handle it, but still they shouldn't have to handle it.
It's amazing work they do over there. And it's a small piece, like you said, it's a small piece of home where they're allowed to, a lot of places they might be, like Kuwait's a dry country. There's no alcohol involved. You can't get alcohol there. Mm. They can't even have it on the base because the host country doesn't allow it, so you can't have it. Oh. And so where we play, you can come listen to some music, but you can't have a beer while you're having it, while you're listening. But then you go to another one and you might have a drink ration, and you'll maybe be allowed 3 drinks within a 24-hour period. Now, how you spend those drinks is up to you. But you can have up to 3 in a 24-hour period.
You can party for an hour and a half, or you can be very responsible.
Yeah, you can get 3 shots and slam them right in a row and enjoy that for your hour and a half, and then you get nothing for the rest of the day. Wow. Or you can just casually enjoy a beer. And I understand why they have that in place, and that's fine. And then quite often, we would be under that same kind of jurisdiction. But there were other things, like Junk did a European tour. Quite often we did Middle East. I can't tell you how many times I've been to Doha, Qatar, Al Udeid Air Base. Great place, great people. It's really come a long way. And you are in a desert.
Yeah.
Everything is dusty.
Yeah.
It just is. And it gets windy, and it's hard to deal with. And equipment fails. My first show at Al Udeid with Junk, I played one of those little Hughes and Kettner amps that glowed blue on the face. It wasn't the big tri-amp, the big Alex Lyson one. It was a smaller one.
Okay, so it wasn't like the 150-pound one? Okay.
It was just a little guy. But I had a Hughes and Kettner at home that I was playing through at the time, too. I'm like, holy buckets. What are the chances that they have like a very similar amp to what I'm playing at home? Yeah. So I plugged in and I played it. I'm like, wow, this sounds great. And the other guitar player in Junk was playing his amp. And we got towards the end of the night, and the gear over there is sketchy because it gets sandy and people come and go and they break shit and they don't tell anybody. And the next act to show up, it's like, oh, these 3 channels on the board don't work.
Oh, wow.
And you got to figure it out or call in repairs and figure all that stuff out. Anyway, we got to the end of the set, and it was our last song. And I believe it was Lit's My Own Worst Enemy. Everybody jumps up and down.
Yep.
And also, a lot of places, a lot of these service members want to just sit and watch because they're working all day. They want to relax and just be entertained.
Yeah.
But if you can get them on their feet, all the better. And I remember that night, why do I remember it? Because I'm playing, and all of a sudden I couldn't hear my guitar. Shit. Did my wireless die?
Right.
And I looked down at my receiver. Nope, the light's on. It's got a connection. I'm okay. Hit my tuner. Nope. It's getting signal, so it's not my cable.
Yeah.
I turn and look at the amp, and it's still lit up. I'm like, well, what the hell? The speaker cable come unplugged. I mean, my pedal board's still plugged in. I go back towards the amp, and as I'm approaching the amp, I can smell burning electronics.
Oh, my God.
And I was like, oh, yeah. And so I leaned over to it and smelled it really close. I was like,
about ready to start on
that's
fire.
the pungent smell of game over. We're done. I don't know why the light was still on. It might have been just the output transformer that toasted or whatever. But I put my guitar down and I ran off stage and I started jumping up and down with everybody. And everybody got up and started jumping up and down, going crazy. And that's what it's about. I want to have fun.
Do you have in-ears for that? were
For
you
that show, no, that was the first junk show.
So can I ask you this? I've done a couple of shows where playing Midsummer Time, humidity, big stage. Do you have tuning issues or what seems like tuning issues where you're 15 feet, 20 feet from your amp and what you're hearing is either flat or sharp, even though you really aren't flat or sharp, but you hear it flat or sharp?
I've had that when I haven't run ears. Yeah, when you get far away from far enough away from it, and if there's a lot of, have you played the zoo at BIR?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Super loud stage.
Yep.
Yeah. Places like that where I didn't use ears. Yeah. If you venture far enough away, it's almost like the sound waves between you and your amp now are messed with across the way.
And I'm just thinking, like in the desert with the heat and the humidity.
Yeah.
How amplified would that be? But then if you're within ears, probably doesn't affect you at all.
Yeah, not with pop rocks, but with junk, I don't remember it being a huge thing. We didn't play super loud there. Funny though, at the zoo, speaking of volume, if you remember Groove City Guitars, Mo back then was like, "Hey, they're doing this presentation tonight. We should go. They're giving away a Gibson SG." And I'm like, "Well, I'm not doing anything tonight. I'll go." So we went. I don't know, maybe less than 20 people were there. I mean, and some guy from Gibson was there. And they were showing off this SG that had the robot tuners on it.
Oh, wow, okay.
And that was the thing he was kind of touting and kind of showing out the technology. It's really clever. I was like, wow, it's interesting. And you just hit the button and you hit all your strings and then and it's done. And it was perfectly tuned. I was like, wow. And he like threw it onto tune and he did it again. You can custom tune. He did like DADGAD tuning and started playing DADGAD. I'm like, it was really impressive to watch. And so all of us were standing around watching, and we all wrote our names on a piece of paper and threw them in this bucket or whatever for the drawing at the end of the night for the very SG he was playing. And so we're standing there, and he gets to the drawing part, and he draws a name out of the hat, and he's like, "Oh, I'm not sure how to pronounce this." And I thought Mo won it because his last name is Mochinsky.
Yeah,
maybe he would have a hard time saying it. And he said, "Jeff Rutland," and Mo's like, "Fuck you." He's standing right next to me.
Jeff, that's me. Oh, no.
I was like, I won? Oh my God. So I got the guitar, I went home with it, and I'm totally not a Gibson guy. I'm just not. I've never really appealed to me. I played the snot out of a Tobacco Sunburst Strat that I still have. I own a Strat, now I own all kinds of Strandbergs because of traveling, but I got this SG and it played great, and I brought it to the zoo soon after because Junk was playing there at this outdoor thing. And Mo and I would have this thing if we're playing, because we were somewhat violent when, like you're saying, you're playing and you're rocking out, just having fun. Yeah. It's the energy.
Yeah.
And if one of our guitars would go out of tune, we'd signal each other. And yeah, we're playing different parts, but at times we're playing the same part too, just thrashing out chords. Yep. But we would signal each other that, hey, I got to tune quick. And I yelled at Mo because I felt like the guitar was out of tune. And he was like, okay. Yeah, he kind of nodded at me or whatever. He's busy playing and singing, but I made eye contact with him and he nodded. So I threw my guitar volume down. I hit the button and I hit all the strings. And all the tuners went, and they went crazy. Why? Because the guitar relies on the vibration, kind of like a snark. And now you're standing on stage at BIR in the middle of a song with all that low end going on, and the guitar can't tune itself to save its life. I was literally floored.
Oh, wow.
They just kept moving. They never stopped. Normally, if you're sitting here and I do it, it would, and then they eventually stop, and then it would flash at you, and you know you're good to go.
Wow.
And I hit it, and so now I already heard it out of tune, but now I let it go way out of tune. And the other thing about that guitar, those tuners, is they're very resistant to physical tuning.
So you can't manually tune it.
They want to do it themselves. So even though I turned it off, you grab that tuner and try and turn it, it fights you every step of the way. I'm like, oh my God, we're in the middle of a song. And now I've got Mo like hanging there looking at me like, are you ready? And I'm like, I'm not. And I just got this guitar, so I went and grabbed my Strat and pulled it out. And I'm like, I really like the sound of that guitar for some reason.
Yeah.
The pickups in it were fantastic. I really want to play it, but I can't do that. And so I got regular vintage tuners for it.
Yeah, you can't
and
trust
I played
the Robo tune
snot out of that SG for so long. Such a great guitar.
I wonder if they ever fixed that.
Nope. That's why they're not that popular. Because they rely on that vibration. They rely on that vibration to get the pitch. Yeah. And if you're on a loud stage in the middle of a song, forget about it.
Wow, man, that is crazy.
It totally throws it off. But
the other time that I had to deal with that odd tuning, we played a Winter Carnival event.
Okay.
Heated stage.
Oh, yeah.
And you tune inside the tent.
Yep.
Where it's nice and warm, and then you walk to the front of the tent where that cold wind hits. So it was one of those things where, like, I had to decide within the first song, do I want to be up front and have a good time, or do I want to be in back? So I went in front, and I tuned it in front.
There you go.
And then I had to stay there for the entire hour, freezing my ass off, just so I could have fun with the crew or with the people. But it's so weird. Like, a lot of musicians that don't get those extremes may never have ran into that. And that's why I wanted to ask you, because you've been in the desert.
Yeah.
Did you have a similar thing,
Yeah, no. It's funny. The whole reason I even bought a Strandberg to begin with was because we did one of those tours, Junk did, and I got home and kind of reflected on it, and I'm like, that was like a super awesome experience, and I would do one of those again in a heartbeat. It's super disruptive to my life, but it was really cool, kind of bit me with a travel bug, but it really kind of opened my eyes to what was really, you hear about people being deployed, but until you're there and you kind of see what they deal with every day, and it's just different. You just feel different about them, and you feel a different level of appreciation and respect when you hear about people over there. Anyway, I had brought a Strat, not being a Gibson guy, whatever, but I went into Guitar Center one day to buy strings, and Steph was with me, and it's her photo on my phone, her sitting there. I saw a used Les Paul on the wall that wasn't obscenely priced and was really pretty. It was like a cherry burst. I'm like, oh, that's a really pretty looking guitar. Can I see that? And he handed it to me, and it didn't feel like it weighed 10 pounds. It was chambered. And I was like, oh. And I played it a little bit. The action was great. And I'm like, can I plug this in? And he's like, yeah, sure. This is when Guitar Center was in Edina.
Yep.
And I plugged it in that room, and I was instantly, I'm like, not only does it look really pretty, it's not obscenely expensive. It's a real Les Paul, not any kind of knockoff or like whatever lower end. It was a really nicely finished, perfect condition, used Les Paul for not a ton of money, and it sounded great, and it played great, and I didn't fear for my shoulder. And I told Steph, I'm like, here, take this. And I had her sit with it on the drum stool there, and I took a photo. That's her contact photo after all these years with that on her. Anyway, the whole reason I bring that up is because I bought a flight case because I wanted to bring that with on our next tour. So I bought a TSA approved Les Paul flight case. Fits it like a glove. Just you put it in there and it's not going anywhere.
Right.
And you can lock it, and TSA can open if they need to. And we went overseas, and we had 2 connecting flights or something to get to Kuwait International Airport. Now you're all jet lagged and just ragged, and we're finally at our destination, waiting for the bags to come out. All the bags come out. You're standing there at the airport, and all the bags come out, and that's it. And no guitars, none, not a single one. And I'm like, okay, maybe it's by large luggage or whatever, and go there, and nope, nothing there. And clearly the baggage has stopped. People are now dispersing, and everybody's leaving. And I'm like, and I walked up to somebody, I'm like, we are missing bags. I'm like holding my bag tag. I'm like, where is this? And they, now you're in Kuwait. They don't speak English. That's not their primary language. You're there now, and I'm trying to explain to them that this bag is missing. They don't know what it is.
Yeah.
And they don't know why we're there. And that's okay. I get that now. But at the time, I was like, no, you don't get it. We just got here. Where are these fucking bags? I'm at the service counter. I wasn't saying that, but I was like, no, I need to know where they are. There's a code here. Why can't you scan that? Don't you scan this stuff? And she said something. She gave me a phone number, and I'm like, I can't believe the whole reason we came over here and all of our instruments are lost. So on that tour, we played borrowed instruments on every stop.
Wow.
And so you never know.
They never even caught up to you. They were just gone.
No. Well, they were gone. Right. And so we continued. We had no choice. We had these dates booked. And as we got from base to base, we played what we could. And I remember on one base, there was an old Epiphone Les Paul special with a bent neck and rusty strings, but it was the only one that had all 6 strings. And we were sound checking, and I was playing it really carefully. I had extra strings, but I didn't know if the tuners were real steady or anything. I didn't want to disrupt.
Don't want to break it.
It works right now, and let's just get through the night. And I remember there was a woman standing in front of me at our sound check, just like looking at me. And we're playing, whatever, and I think after sound check or whatever, I started talking to her and a couple of her friends there, and her friend said, she plays guitar. You should get her up to play tonight. And I'm like, you do? And she's like, yeah, I don't. And I'm like, no, if you play, we're doing it. And they're like, yes, yes. Anyway, we get to showtime, and we go to play. And while in the middle of the show, I see her out there, and her friends are like pointing at her because I said that, and they're like pointing at her, and I'm like, hey. And I leaned over to Mo or Tyler, the drummer, I don't remember who, and I'm like, can we get her up here to play like a blues or something? And they're like, yeah. So anyway, I give her the guitar. And she starts, if you've ever seen like Stevie Ray Vaughan play, he's got a really heavy picking hand. He digs.
Yeah.
And she started hammering on that thing while I'm off stage. I'm like, because we're not done yet.
Yeah, right.
And she's giving it the business. But she slayed it. Nothing broke. Everything was fine. And the place went crazy that one of their own was playing with the band. It was fantastic.
That's so cool.
And, but yeah, so I came home. And when we landed at our last connecting location in Chicago, O'Hare, where we connected on our way out, we flew American to O'Hare and then Etihad Airlines from there on out, which is a Middle Eastern airline. And when we got back to American, I walked straight to their service desk with my American tag and I said, where is this right now? I'm not joking with you. I want you to tell me where it is right now. And she's like, yeah. And I'm like, I'm sorry. You don't know what we've been through these last week and a half, 2 weeks.
Couple weeks.
So she scanned it and she's like, the last I show is it left here like 10 days ago. And I'm like, no, that's not good enough. And she's like, I don't know what to tell you, but all I can say is even though we lose track of it with our partner airlines, it is tracked. It will be found. You will get it back. And I'm like, and I'll be 2 weeks, I don't know, week, 2 weeks after I got back, I got a call from Kuwait International. Some guy with an accent saying, I have your package here. I'm like, can you describe the package? It's long black case. And I said, you can turn right around and send that back to where it came from. I'm already home.
Oh my God.
And he sent it back. And we all got our instruments back at MSP. Wow. It took a few days, but they made it.
And not damaged, not...
Nope. There was a TSA, there was a notice inside that said TSA had opened it and inspected it. But other than that, everything is exactly as I packed it. And I was like, but thankful it was home. But I was like, I'm never, ever, ever checking a guitar again. And so another tour was coming, and I'm like, there's got to be a guitar that I can bring on the plane with me. And I found a Strandberg. Right. And they're not cheap, and they're super niche. But I'm like, I'm going to try it, and if I hate it, then I hate it, and that's just the end of it. But I can't check a guitar. If you bring a regular-sized guitar on in a regular-sized gig bag, they stop you. Yeah. They're like, nope, you got to check that. I'm like, no.
So how big is that gig bag? I mean, that gig bag's probably only this big, right?
Oh, the guitar is probably that big on me.
Yeah.
If I as we traveled, I would put the gig bag on me and I would extend the strap so much that you can't see it behind my head. So when I go to scan my boarding pass, I've got my backpack on the front of me and my guitar on the back of me. And so occasionally I get stopped and tapped and I'm like, no, listen, it slides above the bags in the overhead. That's so slim, I can slide it right above the overhead. Yeah. And I've never been told to check it. And so, but the goofy thing is they're super light, they're super portable, and the neck is a very interesting ergonomic shape. And after you get used to playing it, everything else feels like an oversized baseball bat to me. And I just can't. The Strat I played for years hangs on my wall at home for sentimental value only. I pick it up and play it, and I'm like, it doesn't work for me anymore.
Well, certain instruments are that way. I mean, that's the reason I play P-bass only. I've tried to play a Thunderbird, and it gives a weird shift. And now, all of a sudden, I'm not centered, I'm oblong, and it just throws. So I get that. Once you get your comfort spot, that's where it is.
It's an amazing instrument, and I know you don't find people that are just okay with it. That's a cool looking guitar. They love it or they hate it. And that's cool. When people are like, that's the ugliest damn guitar I've ever seen, I'll just be like, well, just stop listening with your eyes. Does it sound good? Does it sound like I can play it? Because that's why I'm here.
I just say it's a Jeff Rutland guitar. Because you're the only guy I know that plays it. And it stands out.
I'll say this too. This is so funny. It's funny, small world. I started playing them because it really worked for me after that tour. I'm like, I really, really enjoy this guitar. It fits me. It really works for me. And another guitar player named Aaron Rett.
Don't know.
He is by far the best that I've ever heard locally, in particular locally. One of the best I've ever heard imitate Van Halen.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Like early, like classic Van Halen.
Yeah.
It's uncanny. And he used to be more active on social media. He used to post YouTube videos. I'm sure they're still out there. But one of the ones that left a mark on me where I'm just like, unbelievable. He plays with the dweebs, but he doesn't do social media anymore. Why do I know this? Because I just saw him yesterday through a chance meeting. And he says, "Hey, Jeff," and he shook my hand, and I'm like, should I know you? I didn't recognize him. And he's like, "I'm Aaron Rett." And I was like, I'd never met him in real life. We're Facebook friends only, right?
Yeah.
You got a lot of those through music. And he tried a Strandberg, and he told me over Facebook after he saw mine, he tried one, and he loves it. And that's all he plays now, too.
See, look
and
at
it's funny, when he started playing it in the Dweebs, he wanted a guitar stand. And because they're such a goofy shape, they don't sit right on a regular guitar stand. He bought a cheap kind of metal wired guitar stand, and he took the leg on the right and bent it up. And now it works. And it's hilarious because I saw him yesterday, and because I just left Pop Rocks, my guitar stand that I used on his recommendation, I was like, oh my, it's like a cheap on-stage stand with the little bumpy wires that hang in the bottom. Right. I just bent the right one up, and it fits it perfect and holds it upright.
That's awesome.
But as it comes, it will fall right out of it. But he suggested that. I bought one, I bent it up and put it in my office. I was like, oh, it's perfect. And I had it in the back seat of my car as we're standing there talking. I'm like, I took your stand recommendation all those years ago, and I was like, hey, wait a minute. And I opened my back door, and I'm like, I just grabbed this out of the Pop Rocks truck. He's like, oh, look at that.
Look at that stuff.
But the guy's amazing. He's got a YouTube video of him playing the outro keyboard solo of When Doves Cry on his guitar.
Really?
Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Blindfolded. I know. That's about the face I made when I saw the video. I was like, shut up. Don't even start with me. And as soon as I watched it, I was like, I don't even know what to say. This leaves you speechless. Blindfolded.
Well, we watch what we like. I watch some of your videos when you're going through solos and you're doing, I think you did a Mr. Scary one or something like that. Or you've done some Dokken ones.
Oh, absolutely.
I've been blown away by. So it's, and I keep thinking like, look at this. Jeff Rutland's got himself a little channel too. You got some Instagram and all that stuff. So I'm following you as well, sir.
I appreciate it.
So the last thing, and
Sure.
we were going to talk for an hour. We've been going forever, which is awesome.
Sorry.
No, dude, we could talk forever. I sometimes forget we're recording this and I have to edit this later. So you've left Pop Rocks.
Mm-hmm.
You're now going to kind of focus on you and just kind of do you and go back to just what is your plan over the next year or so?
Yeah, Pop Rocks is super busy. It really blew up post-COVID. I'm really proud of what we did. It's a great band.
Yeah.
Chad's a great guy. He's got a real vision. And I had a great time playing with him. We had a lot of really unique, fun experiences that that'll probably never have again, if I'm being honest. Right. It was a great time. It really was. I want to take time off to be more at home for family issues, family matters. I'm kind of a do-it-yourself kind of guy. I do a lot of home projects. I resided my house just because I was like, I don't like the way our siding looks. It's this old kind of vinyl siding in this yellowish color, and we got this weird brick facade in front of the garage that's like sagging. You can see a crack in it. I'm like, is that going to fall in my car someday?
I'm like, the day that I bought that octave pedal from you, and you met me up in the
Guitar Center parking lot.
Guitar Center parking lot. You had just left from doing a home DIY project, and you had to get right back to it.
Yeah,
I still remember.
Probably that. Yeah. I do a lot of stuff like that, and as we came out of COVID, Pop Rocks just started to really take off, and it, like you said, we got a 9 to 5 too. So in the week I'm busy, and then weekends we're traveling a lot. So I just don't have a lot of time to do a lot of stuff, and so a lot of my home projects are kind of half done.
Well, not only that, but you've got a partner, you've got family,
kids,
you've got all those things.
Parents, yeah. And so I kind of want to focus on that a little more. One thing I did notice about myself with Pop Rocks is that I do a lot of the tech behind the scenes stuff, a lot of the programming, a lot of the content creation for like the video screens and things like that, automation, the tasks and things like that. What it started doing to my free time was I wouldn't practice as much. And I actually started noticing kind of like my hands falling behind where my brain thinks they should be. And I'm like, it took me to this point in my life now to realize that not only am I getting older, I'm not quite as nimble as I was, but, you know, without practicing, I'm starting to it's starting to show a little bit. And so what am I going to do now? I'm going to sit down with that metronome, right? And I have been, and I've been, the Pop Rocks arrangement, I played direct through Ableton Live. So I haven't been using a guitar rig for a long, long time now. And I love it. It's all automated for me. All I got to do is know where to stand on stage. And I know where I go, and I don't have to step out. There's nothing in front of me. And I found a really super nerdy MIDI controller that I could set behind me, but it also has these wireless little controllers that I could put on my guitar, and that's how I control the show. If we gotta advance or stop or something or do things, I can do it right from there, and nobody knows the wiser. It's just this little thing I'm mounted on my guitar. Wow. And so I got so deep into that I kind of stopped playing guitar for enjoyment. And I didn't really realize that until, I don't know, literally within the last couple of weeks. I started, I like chasing guitar tones. I'm a kid of the 80s. You can take the kid out of the 80s, but you can't take the 80s out of the kid. Yep. I love that stuff. Yeah. I love super wide chorusy guitar tones. I love funk stuff. I love clean kind of edge of breakup kind of outfield stuff. And I love Lynch Mob. And I love Pantera. Right. I love all of it. I just love all of it. It all has things to offer and things to say. And doing like tone searching with a pedal now is kind of fun, just sitting in my office and not, do I miss, Friday at 9:30? Do I feel like I'm in the right spot when I'm at home and actually like thinking about going to bed? No, it's bizarre for me. And it's definitely going to be an adjustment. But it's also definitely for me the right thing right now. I'm not retiring from playing. I will, as you can say, I'm sure you can also identify with, as a lot of musicians can, this never leaves you.
Well, and I've always said too, like, there's two different things. There's people that play music and there's people that are musicians. Mm-hmm. There's people that learn how to play an instrument and they play music and they get something out of it, whether that's popularity, a girlfriend, whatever that is. And then when they get that, the music just goes away.
Mission accomplished. Yep.
Right. And then there's other people that just seem to exude from their soul music. And it doesn't matter if they're 6 or 60, music has to happen. So I feel like that's definitely
absolutely. You. And the live thing, I think it's hard to I used to tell Steph this too, when junk really took off. We started getting booked all the time, and it was really crazy busy. And she was stressing about it, as any partner or spouse would. It's hard. Yeah. You're gone on the weekends when you want to just chill. And sorry, I got a gig to go to. And God bless her, she'd come to shows, but does your wife really want to come to every show? Because she's going to hear the same songs, probably in largely a very similar order, over and over and over and over and over again. It just
not
gets
only
boring.
That, if she rolls with you, she's now investing 9 hours into that night, not 3. She's not coming as a guest at 9 and leaving at 10:30. She's showing up at 6, going through sound check, going through the whole show, going through teardown.
So I told Steph, when you wind up in a band like that, and when that thing starts clicking, and there's that, I don't know, you can't like explain it. It just works, and it's working, and it's the people that come to our shows are vibing with it, and it's just a good energy exchange. And as much as I don't like how busy it is, I'm also not going to be the one to break it. A wheel's going to come off, but it can't be because of this. Yeah. I'm asking you to be patient, and God bless her. I love you, Steph. She held on through it because it was hard. Yeah. And I had a very busy schedule, and then Pop Rocks also became very, very busy. But I kind of want to just lay low. I've got some fill-in shows over the summer, and I enjoy filling in too because it exposes me to other songs and other playlists. I've been playing some of the songs in Pop Rocks. I played in Pop Rocks 14 years ago for a year, and it was a much different scenario back then. Some of the songs that we play today are still from then. Yeah. I mean, but that's part of a show. It's just the way it is. Obviously, we've added a ton, and the band has morphed a lot over the years, but there's some that we still play, and some of the same kind of things that we still do. I like filling in because you get, new stuff. I love that song. I've never learned the guitar solo for that. So I start learning guitar solos that I know that are coming up on my fill-in gigs.
I remember hooking you up with Dennis and Uncle Chunk years ago.
Absolutely.
And he still talks about you to this day. He's like, oh, Spider?
That's so much
He calls you
fun.
Spider because the way you moved on stage and got all kind of crazy with it. But I still remember, like, he said, do you know anybody? I'm like, oh, I know somebody.
Thank you, man.
Glad you guys
I
hooked up.
appreciate that.
It was great. Dennis is an amazing player. I wish I could have been there for that show. Just to watch two guys that are as talented and improvisational take something that has been heard a million times and probably give it a little bit of their own flavor.
Sure.
That stuff's always been huge to me. So,
Dennis is amazing. Yeah. Fantastic singer. And holy crap, can that guy play guitar? And I thought, he says, when I didn't really know him that well, but prior to that, I thought he was a singer that played guitar. And then he starts ripping out some leads. I'm like, dude, I'm going to just stand over here and play behind you for a bit. You do you, because I'm listening. Holy crap. That guy can slay.
He's something else.
Fun.
We are doing our very last Foo Fighters show this weekend, playing in New Richmond at the big tribute fest that they're doing there.
Why are you guys?
So he has had also just kind of an awakening of acoustic writing. He has written...
I've seen that.
Probably 4 or 5 albums worth of acoustic music in the last year.
Really?
And he's just constantly just pouring that out. And the Fools are not a band that plays regularly.
Yeah.
So I book a show, Eric books a show. Okay, we're going to play a show in 4 months. Well, he's living. And all of a sudden, it's 2 weeks before that show. Okay, now we got to bring it together. And it's a lot of work for that one show.
Yeah.
So I understand that. And we all have different things. Eric's got a couple different bands. Lee is in like 6 bands, our drummer.
Yeah.
I've got just 1 now, but there was a time I had 5. So we're all just very busy musicians, and Foo Fighters is something we love to do, but we figured this is a good way. It's 13 years we've been doing it. This is a good one. Awesome. So this weekend will be that.
Yeah, I love Dennis. He's a great guy. I've seen some of the acoustic stuff. That's something I've never really... I wish I had that muscle, songwriting. I don't. As much as I've tried over the years, I have what I call 30-second symphonies on my computer.
Okay.
I'll just come up with like a catchy little riff or maybe a catchy little melody, and I'll build it up to this thing, and then I'll stay up way too late one night going, this is amazing, and then I can't like turn it into something else or like make it move into a song.
We've had those scenarios too where it's like, I've got 2 parts. I need 1 more.
Yeah, right.
Where's the 1 more?
I played I was in an original band called Mars to Mercury in the early 2000s, and a super talented singer guitar player. His name is Lance Stevens, really talented guy. And I remember telling him about my 30-second symphonies. I'm like, I can't get past it. I don't know what it is. I just don't feel like I have that muscle. And he would say like, well, you're creative enough to come up with 30 seconds. And I'm like, yeah. And he goes, well, is it like a verse or something? Like a verse part of a song, or what is it? And I'm like, I don't know. It's just kind of a thing. And he's like, well, then come up with something else and just keep putting them together. And he just kind of stick them together like Legos. And you'll find that they work. You might have to adjust a key or maybe a tempo or maybe simplify a riff, but you just repeat it. And I'm like, you make it sound so easy. Like I should just be able to do it. But it's just a muscle that I've never had. I don't know why.
Yeah.
I've never been able to.
For me, it was just, I'd listen to some of that simple stuff in the 90s, some of the simple grunge stuff, and it sometimes was one riff.
Yeah.
And then they would just drop a note out of the riff. Or they'd turn the riff backwards. But it was one riff.
Sure.
And that helped me a lot when we were doing a lot of our writing in the tempestuous days where we talked earlier where I'd help him get to a 4/4 and then I'd write something. My stuff would be real simple.
Sure.
But it would be hooky.
Yeah.
All right, well, again, we could talk for hours, my friend.
Yeah.
But I thank you so much for everything. Jeff
Absolutely.
Rutland, thank you, man.
Thanks for having me.
Oh, it's been awesome.
Absolutely a pleasure.
Have a great night.
Thanks, man.
Yeah.